Hey everybody, how's it going? Good evening. We are hanging out. We're doing some live stuff. Fix my camera, it's a little messed up. There we go. Yeah, hanging out, doing some live stuff. Been a crazy 2 days or so, something like that. I was like, when everything dropped yesterday, I was like, oh, I should do a live, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna wait. Everybody else is doing covering stuff. And I was tired, and I was tired today. I really wasn't even planning on doing this. I was just super tired after work, and I went like laid down, took a short nap, woke up, had some dinner, and I'm like, all right, I got some energy. We can hop on and discuss stuff because there was stuff that was like bugging me, and I was just like, oh, get it off my chest. But we'll talk some OGL stuff, and then I really want to talk about some other stuff because there's actually some good things out there happening. There's still content I want to go over, books that publishers are releasing, and stuff with Black Flag, and all sorts of just cool stuff. And it would be nice to talk about something positive for a little bit because my mood the last 2 weeks has been just crash and burn. 1.2 was worse than 1.1 because it's more deceptive. I think that the contents, like what the restrictions weren't as bad, except for VTT. But yeah, I agree with you. It was very deceptive. It was very, it was very. I don't even want to say sleight of hand. It's like misdirection, right? It's like look over here. Well, they're telling you to look at this hand while they're doing something over with this hand and distracting you. And so yeah, it was a little deceptive. Hey, Mike. Hey, and we have Kwood Publishing in the house. Those guys just released what I'm going to assume might be their last 5e monster book before they switch to some system neutral stuff. I should have a video coming up on that one. I got to cover that. I'll probably shoot that video this weekend. Try to get it out to you guys next week. But Monsters of the Feyland 2, is that correct? So yeah, it's I like their stuff, man. Their stuff. We were talking about their stuff on one of my other streams last week. Very much more whimsical kind of art that I love, and very much more. It's almost, how do I describe it? Instead of like saying like this monster is named this, it's more like they theme the monster. It's like the monster name has like a theme to it. It's like the judge, or something like that. And it's almost like you can take the stuff they put in those books and really flavor like or do what you want with it. I don't know. I like it. And then there's also the artist is oh man, it's late. I'm drawing a blank, man. Remind me. What's the artist's name? He does the whole comic strip. I'm brain farting bad right now. He'll drop it in chat here in a second. Then he says, here, let's put it. Travis, thank you. Travis Hansen. He does that comic strip that you might see like on your Facebook feed all the time and stuff. That's like the funny little strip. He does like one little comic a day, and it's generally like this ongoing story. Great artist. So like Kwood Publishing, definitely check their stuff out. I'll pull up one. I'll pull up one of their books in a little bit. And then he says that then we drop the OGL and make products for D&D, Pathfinder, OSR. Yeah. Well, now, so I've never been an OSR guy. So my understanding is that OSR relies on the older SRDs, right? Like the 3rd edition, 3.5 stuff. And apparently with 1.2, that's not covered. Like it looks like 1.2 might only cover SRD 5.1 and later. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means for OSR. I have to look more into that. But yeah, let's see. So I'll tell you. I mean, you guys all know, right? We've all been keeping up on the OGL news. We know what's going on. The surveys were out today. I took mine already. And at the end of the survey, they were like, "Oh, it's gonna we'll send a copy to your email." I don't see a copy in my email, so yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish I screenshot everything I put in there. Um, what about the really old stuff like OSRIC and Old School Essentials? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not really sure. Like, I feel like that stuff's still gonna kind of get screwed over. Um, so people who care about like that stuff should really make sure your voices are heard. Not that I don't care about that stuff. It's just that it's not something I've really dug into and played much of. So it's not really on top of my mind when I'm filling out the surveys and stuff. Like VTTs is on top of my mind. I'm a huge VTT guy. I use Foundry a lot. So when when it came to that, it was bad. And I actually want to dig into the VTT stuff. Like that's kind of more what I want to focus on than the rest of it, because, like I said, we'll kind of cover some points. But Foundry VTT actually released a really good article or statement or blog post today about it, and I felt like it was really detailed. So if you haven't filled out your survey yet and you're still like, I gotta figure this stuff out, if you want to kind of get a breakdown of really what's wrong with it from a content creator's perspective, it's a really good read, and I'll share that with you guys. But one of the biggest things he points out is the fact that they are reaching out to the community as a whole, right? And we can give our feedback and all, but that's great. But it comes off more like a plea to the community to allow them to do this, as opposed to working with the people who have to sign it, the people who it directly affects their businesses. They should be in negotiations with those people. They should be, all those people need to have a seat at the table. Foundry's not small anymore. I mean, I would consider them maybe like the third, at least in the top three VTTs, right? I would say, if you throw in Shard and Tailspire and Owlbear Rodeo, there's your top, 7 right there. Like, they're all getting bigger. So, though I think those guys should have a more direct seat at the table than the rest of the people who, it's not affected. Like, it affects me, but almost like secondhand, right? I'm not a publisher yet, although I would like to be. But, I'm a contractor. So if, AAW or Cobalt Press can't create 5e content for Foundry anymore, that's work that I don't get anymore. So it does affect me in that way, but it doesn't, I'm like secondhand affected. So, yeah. A lot of OSRs are retro clones of first edition and earlier, and they don't rely on OGL. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah. How now? If I've always wondered then, because I kind of get that, but if those are clones of first edition, how do they even get away with that? Because that's not open, and I know TSR would sue the crap out of people for that back in the day. So is it just that WotC doesn't care, or what's the deal there? Yeah, that too. Yeah, very open. I found that I just want to check out so many systems now. Same. I'm having trouble getting the time between my work, my day job, hopping on here, doing this with you guys, doing my Foundry work. I'm trying to knock out some projects still. But I have been digging into Pathfinder 2, which I'm liking. I really would like to get more into it. I'd love to play a game. Find a group to play with, because I know my current groups probably aren't going to want to, but I'd be fine just hopping as a player with a more experienced DM and learning, or if I really needed to, I will learn it. I'll sit there over the weekend, read the book, and figure it out, and I'll run a game if I have to. But let's see. Some of them use the OGL out of solidarity, but I feel like most of OSR publishers have come out and said they don't actually have SRD content. Yeah, well, that makes sense, And now, well, we'll get into the OGL. I don't want to start diving in now. I'll answer a couple of your questions before I start giving my spin down. Let's see here. Hey, Open D&D is here. The Riggs book on D&D, it claims that the original TSR content was retained by the original artist in the purchase of TSR by Wizards of the Coast. Now they want to steal it back. Yeah, I actually I read most of the Riggs book, and I just kind of had put it down. And I didn't get finish it yet, and I actually picked it back up last night, and I was reading it again. So hopefully I'll finish that up this weekend, because I did kind of skip forward and I was like, hey, here's the part in the OGL. I want to read this, but it's like at the very end of the book. If I was a publisher, I would not be able to trust WotC after all this. That's the problem. That's the real problem. So like we know that some of the rumors that were out there, the quote unquote leaks weren't true or not totally true. And the thing is, right, it's like at this point, even if it's not true, it was plausible. Like we don't know what to believe anymore because they are lying. They're still saying, oh, that was a draft, right? So it's not like they don't lie to us constantly, right? Recently. So the fact that it's plausible, even if it's not true, if it's believable, that's a problem for Wizards of the Coast. They've lost our trust. So it's like people could throw us some outlandish crap out there, and we'd be like, yeah, that tracks, and that's not good. Like I want to make sure that we're getting the right information, obviously, but the fact is that people don't trust them. So they really need to earn that back, and I don't know how they do it. I actually think I said in the survey, I was like, maybe if you just leave 1.0a alone and stop trying to deauthorize it, that might begin to earn a little bit of good faith back. Do you think the rumors of a staff exodus from WotC has any merit? And if so, do you think that might affect other publishers if some names become freelancers? No idea. I don't know. The few I know at WotC have not said anything to me. I've told them specifically I don't want them to have to say anything. I don't want them to ever compromise. I was like, listen, don't talk to me because I do the channel and I don't want to put you in a compromising position. If somebody found out you know me, so that's why you're not getting any breaking stuff from me, right? Because anybody I do know, I'm like, I don't want to know. Like, you tell someone else and then I'll get it secondhand because I don't want to put anybody in a compromising position. So I don't have any inside knowledge from WotC, so I don't know what has merit on that, honestly. Now, it was hypothetical if people are leaving, and they're actual like writers, content creators. Half the people that are out here in the industry, worked for Paizo or Wizards of the Coast or TSR at some point. Wolfgang Barr worked at TSR. He, was like editor on Dragon Magazine, and he did a bunch of stuff. The guys from Paizo were former WotC people. So the industry is flooded with people who have, been through those doors. So yeah, if there's some good freelancers out there, that's a boon to anybody who can, pay them to do content for them. Yeah, and exactly like I said, I hope they find a home with third-party creators. Yeah, they can maybe they would actually get to be even more creative with that. It's so short-sighted. The community as a whole will be able to develop new and existing technologies for VTT, and WotC wants to cut them off from outside innovation. Yeah, I've got a lot of problems with the entire VTT policy thing that they are trying to do right now. It's so bad. It's so bad. And I said we're gonna run through the statement that Foundry did because I don't think I could articulate it better than the people that run a VTT and that are directly affected by it. So we'll look at that together. Rather play Pathfinder 2e online. If someone is running a game, I bought the core rulebook and Bestiary 1 and the beginner box, still waiting to get them in the mail. Yeah, I picked up PDFs of some stuff, and I got some stuff on Foundry, or I have access to stuff on Foundry from a friend. So if you guys want to look at what it looks like on Foundry, I could pull it up. My friend gave me access to his server. So he's got a bunch of the content there. So we can always pull that up if you want to see it. And then it's so nice looking. But yeah, I definitely want to dig in. They said in the release they rolled in that one which is cringe but accurate. They really, really bungled the PR after this. I'm not a marketing expert, so I couldn't say what they need to do, though. Well, they need to fire the people who wrote that is what they need to do. Heads need to roll, and it's corporate heads is most likely. My guess is that it's not even the PR person writing it. It's like corporate, VPs, like, this is the statement. And someone's like, sir, I don't think that should be this is the statement. And it's just like, because somebody with a really big ego wrote that. So yeah. Or somebody else wrote it, and then some VP crossed stuff off and said, say this, and edit it. So I can't see the VP using the Nat 1 language, but I can see the U1 and We1 language coming from a VP. I don't know. Kyle's statement was definitely better. It was, much better. So, poor Kyle. I feel so bad for that guy. So bad. So let's take a look here. We'll look at a couple quick things. All right. We'll run down the list, I suppose. So let's jump over here and just take a look at this first. So this was the message from Kyle yesterday about the playtest of it. Basically, they kind of go through here. This part I want to call out specifically that OGL 1.2 will apply only to TTRPG content with their published books or electronic publications or virtual tabletops. Nobody needs to worry if it applies to anything else. It doesn't. So right there, you notice they're excluding video games, which 1.08 allows for. So the whole excluding video game, like the whole thing about, we don't want a VTT be a video game, blah, blah, blah. I'm sitting there like, well, animations don't make a VTT into a video game. Video game's a totally different beast, for so many reasons. And I'm so focused on that, I'm like, wait a minute. What does it matter if somebody wants to make a video game? They can only use the SRD. They can't use anything else. It doesn't compete with Baldur's Gate 3 or something. It's just a different game. I think they're worried that people are going to make better content than them, and people are going to buy the better, the other stuff. I'm like, how about you just make better content? That's all you have to do is make your stuff good, and people will follow. Here's when it comes down to it, right? The D&D Beyond VTT from the early previews looks cool. It's not exactly my cup of tea. I prefer a top down. I'm not a big fan of the Tailspire either. Not that it's a bad thing. I played with it. It's cool. Just not my style that I want. But I could see tons of people flocking to the D&D Beyond VTT. People have been asking for a VTT from D&D Beyond for years, since before Wizards owned it. So there was never really going to be an issue with people using it. But I think because of their plans to how they want to monetize a microtransaction, they're worried that's going to scare people away, which it probably will. So they figure, let's just get rid of the competition. That way people have to. They're basically just holding a gun to your head and saying, if you want to play online, this is it. And even still, they haven't said this yet, and I've heard other people mention it, and I don't think they're wrong. Are they going to stop publishing physical books and just do, virtual? That's it? Everything's D&D Beyond or nothing? Is that the only way to get your D&D now? I think that would be a huge mistake. I know some publishers are, talking about only doing PDFs and print on demands. I know, Kaywood, you guys do that, right? You only do PDF and print on demand because the cost of publishing is really hard. It's really high. But Wizards of the Coast can afford that. So why would you stop? I don't know. To me, it's always been about the books, man. I remember I was telling my wife, I'm like, when I was a kid, I would go through those books like I was a wizard. These were my arcane tomes. I felt like they were these tomes of knowledge, and it was just silly. But having the books and flipping through them, I even love the smell of them. Which my friend says, dude, you're sniffing glue. But so yeah, we saw the statement, right? And the other thing obviously is this. Now listen to this. Deauthorizing OGL 1.0a, we know this is a big concern. The Creative Commons license and the terms of 1.2 are intended to help with that. One key reason why we have to deauthorize. We can't use the protective options in 1.2 if someone can just choose to publish harmful, discriminatory, or illegal content under 1.0a. And again, any content you have published under 1.0a will still always be licensed under OGL 1.0a. This is a plea. This is them saying, listen, we got to do this, guys. We need to. Otherwise, nobody will use 1.2. Or I'm going to throw a crazy idea out there, make 1.2 good so that people want to use it. The thing is, you do not have to put, we're going to call it 6th edition for the sake of argument. You do not have to put the 6th edition SRD under OGL 1.0, right? You put that under what, we'll call it 2.0 as will be the final draft. You put 6th edition under 2.0. So if people want to publish 6th edition stuff, they have to use 2.0. But 5th edition, 3.5, all that other stuff stays under 1.0. There is a clause in 1.0 that allows you to revoke for illegal use. Not so much discriminatory, but again, that I don't get why there's. I feel like they're using that as another misdirection, right? Like, we got to protect against discriminatory stuff. You don't, because of the internet and Twitter and social media and cancel culture and all this stuff, and it will do its job. If something is really truly bad, the community will handle that crap, right? They will cancel those people, right? I mean, that stuff will just get shut down. For better or worse, it will sort itself out. And the thing is, Wizards of the Coast can wash their hands of it. It's not their fault that, some schmuck posted, something terrible, created something terrible. It's not their fault. And by putting it into license, they make it their responsibility to police everything. And I don't know why on God's earth they would want that responsibility. I'm telling you, they're using our current political and societal strifes and all this crap that's been happening for the past whatever number of years that's really kind of divided people. They're using it to push their real agenda, which is control over their product. They don't really care about that stuff. To me, that's an excuse. That's my thought on it. I don't know. Anyways, so those are the two big things that I felt like were big ones. The very limited license changes allowed is, again, this is another thing we'll kind of go over, but they allow changes. I get what they're saying here. And when I read this, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, here's the deal. I don't think I would ever enter into an agreement where one side can change any part of that agreement for any reason. I get that it's like, oh, just contact info. But what if they change that contact info to you have to register with us and give us all your information and report earnings, right? Like, they don't specifically say we will never ask you to report earnings in here. There's nothing that excludes them from adding that in. So they could change that one section to say that that's something you don't have to do. So, yeah. Just because they took stuff out, unless we'll look at it again. But unless they specifically say we cannot and will not do this thing, there's no reason they can't add it back in somewhere. In a section that they can change. At least that's my feeling on it. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Disclaimer, yada yada yada. Don't listen to me. I'm just some schmuck on the internet. But I just don't see entering into a license agreement that somebody can change. That does not seem smart to me. I don't know. I don't know why that's not working anymore. I'm not seeing my chats. Stop that. I lost my little chat window on you guys where I can't put you up on the thing. There we go. Then, let's see here. They want to force people to 6E as a community, are slow to move to the next edition 2 to 3 years. Yeah, and people will adapt it. I mean, here's the thing: if it's good, people are going to go play it. I feel like they're not confident in their product, and that's what a lot of this is about: is that they're not confident in their product. Yeah, give us a carrot, don't hit us with a stick. Yeah. Can I make a skeleton and animate it, or does that break the new rules? Exactly, right? Like, can I just use a little WebM file? What's the guy's name? Devin Knight does these great animated tokens. They can't walk around. They just like it's like a little. It's like almost like a GIF. It just has got a few frames and just moves around. It's not anything crazy. So yeah, here's the deal: a video game, regardless of how open it is, Skyrim, very open. World of Warcraft, very open. But it still's got boundaries and it still's got set things I can do, right? I can't decide to, there's things you just can't do in a video game, no matter your imagination. Because in D&D, the only limit is your imagination, right? You have to roll for it. It might be impossible. You're going to fail, but you can still try if you really want to. You can't do that in a video game, right? They're eventually going to come to those mountains that you can't go past. That doesn't happen in D&D. So a virtual tabletop, all that is a representation of our game on the screen. Putting an animated graphic or an animated token or dynamic lighting, none of that turns it into a video game. None of that does. A video game is programmed. It's scripted. It's set. The program is running the game, is running the NPCs, it's running the encounters. A virtual tabletop, a human is running the game, is running the NPCs, is running those encounters. So that's the difference, right? If I was to say anything that would maybe cross into the realm of video games, it would be an AI DM, which apparently is not true. I don't know. Like I said before, I think some of the AI stuff is cool, and I think it's a cool accessory for DM to use to generate ideas, generate magic items, things like that. But you can't run a game on it. Hey, we got a super chat. I'm sorry I missed that, Mike. Maybe start a Keep 1.0 a OGL, just a thought. Maybe. I mean, I feel like Open D&D is just kind of covers that, personally. Because it's just, yeah, I mean, to me, that is what Open D&D is all about, right? 1.0A is a truly open license, and we want to keep that. So that's my thoughts on it. Yeah, it's a digital miniature, just a little animated. Exactly. Coastal Wizards and Towers are going to be my next BBGs. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I know, man, the Lord of the Rings memes, they just keep coming, don't they? They do. They're funny. So, anyways, we know about all these things. We know about, there's obviously the VTT policy. This whole section of the VTT policy is absolute garbage. Now, they did say on Twitter, they were like, we hear you, we're going to make changes about the VTT policy. We'll see. The problem is now we got to wait till like the middle of next month, which is, I think, still part of the strategy of it, right? Like, let's let it all die down. Here, let's pull it up. So right here, talking about the survey, let's see the thread. And they say, we understand there is a spectrum between virtual tabletops and video games. The VTT policy will get updated, and we'd like to hear your thoughts on VTT policy questions in our playtest survey. Yeah, you'll hear it in the survey, but you're going to hear it here too, because I think it's really important that we keep being vocal in public, out there on Twitter, on Reddit, on Facebook. It has to stay up in the spotlight, because if it stops, then the pressure comes off of them. The stock recovers. The stockholders stop being angry, which I believe the stock has dropped like 6% now, something like that. So yeah, I mean, we got to keep it vocal out here too. But yes, definitely fill out your surveys for sure. All right, I want to show you guys. Do Do I stream my yeah? Do I stream my games? I like to see that. Not yet. You know what's funny is originally I was like, I want to start streaming a game. I was gonna do like a Rise of the Joust stream, and I'm like, until I'm ready to do that, maybe I'll start a YouTube channel and just build up a little bit of a following. And then the YouTube kind of took on a life of its own, and now it's like I do this instead. But I would like to get a online game with some people that you know, have good camera setups that can, you know, play every week, be on camera, you know, stuff like that. And I would love to run a game like that for people. That would be a lot of fun. So that is something it's on my to-do list. It's so hard to find the time though, man. I am so busy all the time. The survey is only internal. The dialogue is to be transparent, needs to be elsewhere. Exactly. Pop up one of the state AG's gifts in the D&D Beyond comments. State AG gifts? I don't know. I didn't see any. I'd have to look. I don't know where they are. Yeah, I don't know where they are. I think there's, I don't know if that's you. So many people have that logo. Sure, Jan. Anyways, I wanted to show this because this is a great response. They well, you know, like I said earlier, Foundry's feeling is that they need input directly from the people who this directly affects. So this is their unsolicited input, as they call it. So I'm going to read this whole thing and, you know, run through it. So yesterday, Wizards of the Coast shared a post starting the OGL playtest, which introduced draft terms of the new Open Gaming License version 1.2, hereafter called OGL 1.2. This new license is intended to replace the prior Open Gaming License 1.0A, OGL 1.0A, which has served and empowered the tabletop gaming industry since 2000. This new license terms are shared for public discussion after several false starts. OGL version 1.1 was a far more restrictive license, to the extent of not being an open license at all. An FAQ which circulated regarding OGL version 2.0 maintained many of the objectionable restrictions in version 1.1 that prompted community outrage. The latest version, OGL 1.2, is a constructive step, doing away with many of the most dangerous clauses of version 1.1, but it is still regressive compared to the original OGL 1.0A. We commend the team at Wizards of the Coast for taking community grievances seriously and for admitting the mistakes that led to the OGL 1.1 and the breakdown of communication which followed. Wizards of the Coast is now asking for community feedback on the draft OGL 1.2 terms, but without further effort to engage directly with the creators who would be accepting the license, this survey process may be a hollow gesture. This article provides feedback from the Foundry virtual tabletop team views, which have not been otherwise solicited by Wizards of the Coast. So we're gonna we'll get into this here. You have it open too? Cool. Read along with us then. It is really, really good stuff. All right, so the draft OGL 1.2. Despite these improvements, there are still some serious problems with OGL 1.2. Wizards of the Coast has invited community discussion on this matter, and it's important for us to advocate for our users, our products, and our values that we bring to the D&D community. So this is the first thing that I did not really think about. Unwitting acceptance. There is a practically dangerous combination of statements in OGL 1.2, which, unless corrected by the Wizards of the Coast, may result in creators unknowingly and non-consensually accepting the terms of the new license. By using our licensed content, you agree to the terms of this license. Right here. So just by using licensed content, you're agreeing to the terms automatically, right? Like you know. Doesn't matter if you copy and paste it or you put the badge on. All you have to do is use it. Our licensed content, this is our licensed content section. This is the stuff in the gray boxes is quoting from the OGL document. This license covers any content in the SRD 5.1, which is the current SRD, by the way, guys, or any subsequent version of the SRD re-release under this license. This is not licensed to you under Creative Commons. You may use the content in your own works on the terms of this license. So another thing about this that, the way I read this, right, is right now it says SRD 5.1, which is the current SRD for 5th edition D&D. They do not specifically say SRD 6.0 or whatever the next SRD is. So the thing is, we could be all like, all right, this is cool, we'll use this, and then we have to use this for our 5e content, and they could still come out with something crazy restrictive for 6e, and we're back where we started again. So that's the other thing. So I like guarantees that the next SRD is going to be part of it. But if creators use the content from SRD version 5.1, the current version of the SRD, which has been available since May 2016, they implicitly agree to the terms of OGL 1.2 license. This means simply by publishing content that was developed under 1.0a and SRD version 5.1, many creators will unknowingly accept the terms of 1.2. This could be avoided with an explicit grace period for ongoing projects and an obvious version number increase in the SRD, which makes it clear that by using the game content, you are accepting OGL 1.2. So what he's saying here is release SRD 5.2 and put 5.2 under here, and leave, like I say, a 6-month grace period to use 5.1 and OGL 1.0a. All right. Deauthorized does not apply. OGL 1.2 preserves with a dubious perseveres with a dubious attempt to deauthorize the prior OGL 1.0. Any creator who agrees to it affirmatively gives up their rights to continue using OGL 1.0a. The new license acknowledges that previously published content is unaffected, but attempts to cast doubt on the validity of the continued usage of OGL 1.0 for the creation, revision, or distribution of works. This is a misrepresentation of the text, clearly documented intention of the Open Gaming License. Wizards of the Coast should focus on a path forward that incentivizes creators to adapt the new license because it offers superior access to game content, including content for 1D&D, rather than focusing misguided efforts on trying to nullify the prior license. So here we're talking about the deauthorization of 1.0 still, which, again, my opinion is cannot do it, should not do it. It should just be left alone, honestly. The way you get people to buy into 1.2 or 2.0 or whatever is you make it good. You make it so people want to be a part of it. You do that with a good 6th edition D&D, and you do that with good terms on the license. And right now, meh. Sorry, I'm really thirsty today. So yeah, the other thing this is talking about is like, okay, so the stuff I already published under 1.0 is left alone, but what happens if I have to revise it, right? What happens if I have to make an update to the book? I do an editor, I fix some misspellings, whatever, and I republish it. I get a reprint run done, something like that. Is it still under 1.0a? Like, we need really clear terms around that. All right, irrevocable unless decided otherwise. Now, this is a big point for me. This is what I was talking about earlier. The new OGL 1.2 does include the significant term irrevocable. However, Wizards of the Coast has provided themselves with several ways to cancel this license, either individually or in total. Severability. The severability clause 9D provides Wizards of the Coast the ability to declare the entire license void, nullifying it for creators who have ever used it. If any part of this license is held to be unenforceable or invalid for any reason, such judgment would be easy for Wizards of the Coast to obtain if desired. There are several clauses in this document which could be deemed unenforceable. And even if there wasn't, those two parts they can change. They can just change it to something unenforceable and say, oh, it's unenforceable, void the license. So, yeah, let's go to comments real quick. Let's see here. Let's see. In the survey, I told them that the badges just seem like a way to claim third-party content with their branding, and we're all really need is just a mention that it's 5e or 1D&D compatible. I mean, I can go either way. Like here, what I told them in the survey was, if you had asked me a month ago before all this stuff, I would have been like, that sounds cool. Like, gonna throw the badge on there. That's neat. Like, that might even help sales. Now I feel like I'd be weary to want to put it on my product because I would almost feel like it would hurt sales. The brand is so damaged by what they've done. I don't think any publishers want to put the badge on their books. They're like, I don't want to do that. I'll keep the little 5e logo thing that everyone uses. Like a lot of companies just put that red 5e on there or something like that. Just do that. So yeah. Have you seen the free adventure that came out today from Loot Tavern called Wizards of the Toast with the BBEG name Hasbrodus? It's fantastic satire. I have not. But I'm downloading that when I'm done with this live. Don't get me wrong. I love Magic the Gathering. Thousands of cards, but it's not worth supporting a company that actively seeks to destroy their community, right? A new license would be a more restrictive license, which means it's automatically a poison pill. It doesn't have to be a more restrictive license. They're making it more restrictive. Like if they were just, like I said, if they just copy and paste the 1.0a and put the thing about VTTs in, or not, the thing about NFTs and blockchain in there, I'd be like, cool. Like, all right. Like the things they're pretending to be upset about and like wanting to write this license for, if those were the only things in the license, I'd be like, cool. But I feel like they're using those as like a shield. Good 6th edition, good VTT, and good terms for a new license. Simple and absolutely never going to happen because they want to take the shortcut legal route to corner the market. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's sad because they have talent working there. Like, I feel like the people that develop this stuff are like, can we please make a good game? And they're like, no, like, make it cheap. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like the talent is there, and I feel like they're getting hamstringed. And they're like, we got a better plan. Rather than making it good, we'll just make it the only choice, and then it doesn't have to be good. Like, I don't know. That's what I mean. Maybe that's not the case. It's just what it feels like, right? That's the perception from our point of view, and the fact is, perception is reality. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The badge at this point would like putting I'm a sellout. Yeah, I feel like you're right. Unfortunately, it sucks, doesn't it? Because like honestly, like a month ago, 2 months ago, I would be like, oh, this is cool. They're letting us use the ampersand. We can put it on our products. Like, how cool is that? Now I'm like, the free adventure on their Patreon. Okay, cool. I'll take a look at it. But that's just it. The NFTs are a made up problem. They are, right? They're a made up problem. And honestly, I feel like a lot of the hateful part of it, that's not really a made up problem. I'm sure that there's content out there that people don't like and stuff. But I don't feel like that's Wizards of the Coast's responsibility to police. That's the thing. I think that that people have an obligation to put out content that is not bigoted. I mean, the thing is, like, it's very. I don't remember which YouTuber it was. Maybe it was D&D Shorts or something. Like said, like it's so vague, and they're just kind of like going to play morality police. So it's not just about bigoted or something like that. There could be like, Joe has an OnlyFans, so I don't have an OnlyFans, so he can't publish with us anymore. We're revoking his license. It can be anything, like, on a whim. It's just, there could be like, Bob, I don't like his political views. That he supports a politician that that has done some bad stuff, so his license is revoked. It just becomes a very slippery slope, and I don't feel like that's Wizards of the Coast job to police. I feel like that's our job as a community to police each other. that's how I feel about it. So, anyways, they can go pound sand. All right. Doesn't vagueness in the contract generally get ruled in the favor of the signing, not the writer? Here's the deal. Maybe. The thing is, one of the biggest problems I have, and I can't remember if it shows up in here or not, but is the whole part about waiving your right to a jury. Never do that. No, if your lawyer was looking at this, or if you got a hired lawyer and said, please review this for me, the first thing they would do is redline that. They'd be like, nope, because a jury generally is going to favor the underdog, right? Because the jury is us. People like us are the jury. We're going to be like, big corporation wants to screw the little guy, F them, and they're going to rule in favor of us. But a judge, at least in the U.S., for those of you not in the U.S., our judges are elected, which is a problem because you get elected by campaigning. You campaign by getting donations. And if Hasbro, for instance, donated a bunch of money to a bunch of judges in the area that might end up ruling on cases like this, because they also say that this has to be settled in court in Washington, they could have judges in their pocket, so to speak. Like, politicians remember their donors. So you do not want to go in front of a judge that got a whole bunch of money donated to them from Hasbro. So, yeah, you're much better off with the jury. Yeah, exactly, right? You waive your right to a fair trial. OGL 1.2 violates Title 2 of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The DOJ can issue a $150,000 per violation fine. Okay. You'll have to tell me where in the OGL, like how the OGL does that, because I don't know. Which is entirely why they put it there. They know that they can write that ever BS, and they want you to sign it. And then they are also signing away your rights. You're screwed. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. So termination, or did we do servability already? Servability clause. Yeah, okay, we did this, right? The servability clause 9D provides Wizards of the Coast the ability to declare the entire license void, nullifying it for all creators who ever used it. If any part of this license is held to be all right, so we did this, right? So that's the thing, right? Is right here, the other problem with this is if you're a business who relies on this license to do business, if you wake up tomorrow and find out they've voided the license, your business is screwed. Like, you cannot operate under a deal like that where your license can just go away tomorrow. So, termination. The termination clause 7B(I) allows for a creator's license to be terminated unilaterally and immediately for any infringement on the intellectual property without a period of notice or opportunity to cure said breach, as required by the OGL 1.0a. If a creator were to accidentally use aspects of Wizard of the Coast material which belonged to the our unlicensed content category, the creator could have the right to the OGL immediately cancellation with no opportunity to correct the mistake. Would WotC do this? If there were a creator they wished to eliminate, they might scour the creator's historical body of work looking for anything that can be argued as infringement or intellectual property rights. To be clear, we neither support nor advocate for intellectual property right infringement. However, such rights are a complex topic, and creators should be given notice and allowed to correct an error without having the license rights to their body of work nullified. So yeah, that's another issue right there, is that they can, say like, oh, 15 years ago you did this, so your license is now void. So again, without notice, you don't like, all right, let me fix it. No, like it can be a very targeted thing, right? They're like, hey, this publisher is making something that's similar to what we want to make. Let's figure out a way to shut them down. So again, not cool. Creators using OGL, this is the class action waiver. This is another big problem. Creators using OGL 1.2 waive their right to participate in class, collective, or joint action. Wizards of the Coast may take legal action against creators individually without the possibility for peers in the industry who would also be affected by such a ruling to participate or aid in the legal action. Each individual creator becomes responsible for maintaining that every clause in the OGL 1.2 is valid and enforceable in any legal action. Otherwise, Wizards of the Coast could declare the license void for all creators. Creators adapting the OGL are looking for a license which inspires confidence that the foundation for their personal and financial investment is secure and stable. These clauses provide too much wiggle room for Wizards of the Coast to take away a creator's rights if they deemed it necessary to do so. So again, we're talking about being able to, not being able to basically fight for something that affects you. You have to wait your turn. Everybody's got to fight them individually, or they come after me, and it affects all the other publishers if I lose. The whole class action thing, that's a way for them to protect themselves. I know a lot of things waive class actions, but in something like this, I don't think it's healthy. All right, so before we get into the virtual tabletop section, which to me is one of the bigger ones, let's go to some comments. Yeah, I wouldn't enter a contract expecting to be taken to court, so the legal system could decide things. The point of a license, especially an open one, is to reach an agreement and avoid litigation. Yep. We don't have a representative constitutional republic like we think. We actually live in a corporate dystopia. Well, if we're gonna go, here's the thing. I don't want to argue those kinds of things, but you're not totally wrong. The thing is, our legal system favors the wealthy, not the just. And I've said that before, and it's sadly the case. If you have enough money and you can pay the lawyers, you can drag stuff out and you can literally just win by attrition. It's sad. I like reading and playing Cyberpunk. Living in it is a lot less fun. Right? Sure. ADA modifies the rules, policies, practices, procedures of all corporations, city, country, state, and governments. The OGL demands to remove that right. The ADA modifies the rules, practices, policies, procedures of all corporations, cities, county, and state governments. The OGL demands to remove that right. Okay. This may be a common clause with contracts. However, if I were you, I would never waive your right. They have billions of dollars to throw at a court case. You don't. Yeah, I agree. Right? Me versus Hasbro. No. It might be a common clause, but it still sucks. Yeah, I guess it depends, right? On what the clause kind of is. But when we're talking about your business, the vitality of your small business that relies on this license from a giant corporation, no, and I can't see giving that up. I can't see that. It doesn't seem like a smart thing. It doesn't seem like a fair thing. I just don't think I would do it. So, all right, let's look at the virtual tabletop policy, because this one, this is obviously affects Foundry the most and affects me a lot. So I want to go over this one. The draft OGL, and by the way, when we're done with this, we're going to get to some happier topics. All right. The draft OGL 1.2 license references a separate document, the Virtual Tabletop Policy, which covers the terms under which the virtual tabletops and VTT content for many may be offered under the OGL. Unfortunately, this policy is severely flawed. A crucial issue with this document is that it is a policy rather than part of the legal terms of the OGL itself. I hadn't even thought about this. I don't know anybody else who had brought this up in commentary or anything, but this makes sense. As a policy, it may be changed without altering the terms of OGL 1.2. If Wizards of the Coast were to decide in the future that they are not actually big fans of VTTs, this could easily become a restrictive policy which states that VTTs are not permitted. Just as print publishers have rightfully insisted the OGL must be irrevocable, the rights granted to software projects must also be secure and trustworthy foundation to justify the investment required to create digital tools. In addition to the concerning fluidity of the policy, the document is frustratingly vague with regards to what is permitted, stating, and we've seen this, what is permitted under this policy? Using VTTs to replicate the experience sitting around the table playing D&D with your friends. So displaying static SRD content is just fine because it's like looking in this source book. You can put the text of Magic Missile up on your VTT and use it to calculate and apply damage to your target. And automating Magic Missile's damage to replace manually rolling and calculating is also fine. The VTT can apply Magic Missile's 1d4 plus 1 damage automatically to your target's hit points. You do not have to manually calculate and track the damage. What isn't permitted are features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling. If you replace your imagination with an animation of Magic Missile streaking across the board to strike your target on your VTTs, integrates our content into an NFT. Wait, I gotta reread this because this doesn't even make sense. I read this so many times and it still didn't make sense. What isn't permitted are features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling. If you replace your imagination with an animation of the Magic Missile streaking across the board to strike your target, or your VTT integrates our content into an NFT, what? That's not the tabletop experience. That's more like a video game. What is this? What is that? I don't understand how a VTT integrates your content into an NFT. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. What are we talking about? Secondly, dude, you just took the words out of my mouth, by the way. So we can't put flat screens in our game tables anymore. Exactly. Like, I have a TV on my table. I use Foundry at my table because it makes it so much easier to run my game. I can put a spell effect up on there. We still play with physical minis on top of the TV, but, you know, I can do Fog of War and things like that to make my game run better. By the way, the other thing is I could 3D print, or I can go get acrylic and cut. You know, let's say I go get some acrylic. I'll even make it easier. I don't even need a 3D print it, but we can do the same with a 3D printer. I'll go get a strip of acrylic that, you know, is basically a measuring thing. I could put a couple cool LED. I'll tape like an LED light strip under it. I could drop that on the table and turn it on with my little remote control. And I can have the lights go doo, 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 and like fire the Magic Missile across. Why not? I could do that. There's Magic Missile streaking across the table. You know, the board at my table. I just replicated it. You know, I cast Wall of Fire. I have 3D printed Wall of Fire that I put up. Hell, they sell a WizKids sells a Wall of Fire and a Wall of Water or something like that. Right? That you can buy that. So I create spell effects at my table all the time. Just because they're animated suddenly, that's not okay. It's like they can be static effects but not animated effects. Give me a break. It's so bad. It's so bad. They are scared of NFTs, but let any flip give away thousands of D&D PDFs. Yeah, okay. Yet again, people prove that no one really understands what our NFTs does, or how it's created. That's because nobody actually knows. I use sparkler fireworks at my table to represent Magic Missile, and I use tasers to simulate lightning bolts, and I light tennis balls on fire to throw them across the table to simulate fireballs. That's you win funniest comment of the night. You win. I'm just picturing my wife's reaction to me taking a tennis ball, lighting it on fire, and throwing it at her. What does this cover? LARPing in any format or against? LARPing's totally another thing, though. You're not really playing D&D. You're just LARPing. In the 70s, they did this with overhead projectors. Yeah. Hell, in the 15 years ago, we would take like a computer projector. I still have it in my garage, a digital computer projector, and had it up on the ceiling, and hit a mirror, and reflected it down on the table. And we'd project maps. I mean, it's a thing you can do. Oh man, I want to light some tennis balls on fire now. That's great, man. All right, thou shalt not animate. The perplexing focus on animation of spell effects is an absurd heuristic as the primary example of what makes a virtual tabletop different from a video game. If differentiating between a VTT and a video game is essential, we contend it is not. They are far more cognate classifiers to use, as the action of both player and non-player or are the actions of both player and non-player characters controlled by a human. Does the game experience provide a framework for collaborative storytelling? Can the game master invent new rules on the fly? Surely virtual tabletops and video games are alike, may both have animations present in the way they communicate information visually to our users. Even if a focus on animation is removed, it is concerning that Wizard of the Coast would choose which software features are appropriate for virtual tabletop to implement and which are not. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? First off, they say they don't want to harm VTTs, but they want to limit what they can do. I mean, what do they want? What do we call them back in like the AOL days? The text-based RPGs. Remember those, like where it was just a scrolling thing and you just type in like what you would do, and we played like RPGs that way. Like, is that what they want? Like, I don't. They're like, you can make a virtual tabletop, just don't make it one better than ours. Like, you can't have features that we want because we want to be, yeah, MUDs, thank you, MUDs. Don't have features that we want to put in ours because we want to be able to say, oh, if you join the D&D Beyond virtual tabletop, you can make a streaking magic missile that goes across the table and strikes the enemy. Nobody else has that feature. Yeah, because you said they can't. Not because they couldn't, because you took it away. Like, again, I said it earlier, the D&D Beyond virtual tabletop is not for me before all this stuff. I'm a Foundry guy, but whatever. I think a lot of people will really like it. In fact, I was worried that so many people were going to flock to it that would hurt Foundry. Because it does seem cool. I don't think they really had to worry about the competition. Other than if they're worried about how they plan to sell it and monetize it, that they think that won't work. So the only solution is to force people into it. That's the only that's got to be what they're doing. Let me know if I'm getting choppy because my my YouTube's telling me that YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So if I'm getting choppy or weird or anything, let me know. Okay. Is this really about NFTs? I am getting choppy. Am I? Interesting. Let me close some windows down. I've got a lot of stuff open. Let's close that. Let's close that. Let's close that. Let's close a bunch of stuff. Did anybody watch the new Vox Machina today? Oh, and by the way, for those of you wondering, I did launch my podcast today. All right, I closed a bunch of stuff. Let me know if that makes it any better. You know, let me close my Adobe. Sometimes messes with it. There we go. All right. So yeah, let me know if that's a little better now. All right. So is this really about NFTs? Equally absurd is the emphasis on NFTs as an insinuated threat of what virtual tabletops would do if left unchecked by a governing policy from WotC. This paragraph reads as a sort of confused fear-mongering that seeks to limit the quality of virtual tabletop software. The virtual tabletops that are used and beloved by the community do not incorporate NFTs, nor would they remain beloved by the community if they were to do so. Be good, but not too good. Again, right? This is what we just said. Under this policy, virtual tabletops should only replicate but not improve upon the experience of sitting around the physical table. The myopic perspective neglects the modern VTT software argument that experiences of traditional play by highlighting the quality of experience for players at the table, regardless of whether the game is played in person or remotely. For many gamers, the virtual tabletop software is an integral part of the TTRPG experience. Jesus, I said too many T's. and not just a fallback option when traditional mode of play is unavailable. We would have experienced a team who are gamers and big fans of VTTs, or we would have expected a team who are gamers and big fans of VTTs to understand this. Discrediting the clumsy wording of this policy is ultimately a distraction from one fundamental question. Is it right for an open gaming license to restrict product formats at all? If a goal of OGL 1.2 license is to foster creativity and further grow the profile of D&D, a game and a brand, its authors are misled in attempts to suppress technology innovation that can enrich the quality of play or empower storytellers to deliver immersive experiences. Watsy's hacker team is conducting a denial of service attack on Joe. That's awesome. Am I any better now, though? Give me a yes or no answer on that. Rewriting historic intent. The current Open Gaming License 1.0a and its authors were 1.0a and its authors were not restrictive in this regard. This is made clear by the Open Gaming License frequently asked question features of the Wizards of the Coast website as recently as November 2021. If I want to distribute computer software using the OGL, is that possible? Yes, it is currently possible. Certainly possible. The most significant thing that will impact your effort is that you have to give all the recipients the right to extract and use open gaming content you've included in your application, and you have to clearly identify what part of the software is open content. One way is to design your application so that all the open gaming content resides in files that are human readable. This is in a format that can be opened and understood by a reasonable person. Another is to have all the data used by the program viewable somehow while the program runs. Distributing the source code is not an acceptable method of compliance. First off, the programming language is not easy to understand if the user hasn't studied the language. Second, the source code is separate entirely from the executable file. The users must have access to the actual open content used. See software FAQ for more information. So here they're telling you not only can you create software, create a video game, they even tell you how you should do it to make it work with the license. Yeah, it's not even like they're like, well, you can, but no, they're like, yeah, you totally can. Here's how you do it. Do one of these two things and you're good. Here's a software FAQ to help you further. What kind of programs can I make with the OGL? Anything. Character generators are popular, as are programs to help GMs keep track of their adventure. Random treasure generators are also fun. So can I make a game? Sure. Remember though, you cannot use any product identity within the OGL or claim compatibility with anything. So you can't say your game is a D20 system game or uses D&D rules or call it Elmster's Under Mountain Crawl. Yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, sure, you can create anything. Now they're saying you can only create some things. Oh, and not only are they saying that, they're saying that was never our intent to let you do anything. Yeah. The FAQ makes the open intention of the OGL abruptly clear. Neither do they reflect a single employee's opinion. These documents were published in 2004 and maintained on the WotC website until November 2021, when they were removed without comment. In the blog post on D&D Beyond, Kyle Brink states, for over 20 years, thousands of creators have helped grow the TTRPG community using a shared set of game mechanics that are the foundation for their unique worlds and other creations. We do not want that to change, and we have heard loud and clear that neither do you. Wizards of the Coast is communicating a clear goal to continue their commitment to open gaming, citing the tradition of the past 20 years. Restrictions placed specifically on software, regardless of the blurry distinction between whether that software is a virtual tabletop or a video game, were never part of the OGL. Adding such restrictions limiting use of content in digital formats should be clearly seen as targeting an anti-competitive measure designed to limit innovation and reduce the quality of products available to customers. So, yeah, again, they say one thing and they do something else. This is something that I hadn't even thought about. I was so focused on saying no, that's not a video game. This is what makes it a VTT and not a video game. That I forgot that video games shouldn't be excluded. Like, I'm so busy fighting for VTTs and I'm sitting here throwing video games under the bus. Video games should not be excluded. Like, that's messed up. What's that one you guys? Somebody told me. I can't remember the name of it now. What's that really cool video game that's based on the OGL and SRD third party one? Everyone says it's like such an awesome game. I still haven't played it. Lies. My code is 100% easy to read. Definitely. Yeah, mine's not. I gotta fix my code up before I release it because it's so. It's just like I just keep adding lines to it as I think of stuff. It's just my CSS code, but it's so messy. I have to like organize it. So many lies. Infuriating. Also, if they try to claim ownership of paladins, I'd be furious. They didn't invent paladins. Yeah, Charlemagne did. I just remembered my Charlemagne. I can't do that. Don't do that. Solsta. Thank you. Wizard of the Coast is clearly a bad actor. They can be trusted to lie about everything. Yeah. Well, for my Foundry, I mean, for Foundry content, you can use CSS to format everything and make it look really pretty. So, yeah. What is sad is if they had just created their own VTT and made it good, people would have used it. Now, no one is going to want to use it no matter how good or bad it is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe Artificer. All right. So, a robust conversation. We're almost done with this. There has been a clear change in approach by leadership at Wizards of the Coast in terms of how they engage with community on this issue. The change in tone of the conversation and the increased level of communication from Wizards of the Coast is refreshing and encouraging. Kyle Brink has done a good job providing communication that is more transparent and relatable. Kyle writes about the need to have a robust conversation about this topic and the desire to support VTT usage for both OGL creators and VTT operators. We hope the commitment to the discussion is sincere. The VTT policy concludes with, you say this is the conversation. Does this mean the policy can change? Yes, we need your feedback as the tabletop space evolves. The potential of VTTs is tremendous and exciting, and we don't want to harm their development. But that's exactly what they're doing. The sentiment here and the innovation to provide feedback is welcome. The text and implied subtext of the virtual tabletop policy, however, causes us to feel that Wizards of the Coast does want to harm the development of Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If that is not the case, a robust conversation is needed to align on a mutually beneficial path forward. Our sincere efforts to engage with Wizards of the Coast on this matter have been met with long periods of silence, lack of response to emails, and a history of postponed discussions. This is extremely troubling. The fact that they have been trying to talk to them and being ignored. That is extremely, extremely troubling. So, they end with, to Wizards of the Coast, it is, if it is genuinely the desire of Wizards of the Coast to foster a space where virtual tabletop usage and operation is supported, I sincerely encourage Kyle and the Wizards of the Coast team to reach out and establish a constructive dialogue. VTT usage and digital content is clearly a key area of focus for all new OGL, or for the new OGL. Talking with the people who create and operate virtual tabletop should be a key area of focus for the conversation that determines the path forward. More broadly, you are proposing a contract that you want creators, publishers, and virtual tabletop operators to accept. We urge you to consult with the parties who would agree to those terms. Otherwise, this process more clearly resembles an appeal to the community for permission than a desire to iterate together. To our community, for the members of our community and members of TTRPG community at large who care about the future for digital tools in this hobby, we urge you to respectfully share these concerns with Wizards of the Coast when given the opportunity to provide survey feedback on draft OGL 1.2. Please engage respectfully with this topic using the following sources. And I link everything here. Thank you for your support and advocacy for Foundry Virtual Tabletop and other software projects during this conversation, the Foundry Virtual Tabletop team. So this whole thing is so well put together. If you have not done your survey yet, you can definitely use this as a guide on what's wrong. It's so well done, so well picked through, and they really point out all the things. So if you haven't done your survey yet and you want a little help and you're not sure and you're having trouble kind of figuring stuff out, use this as a guide because it is fantastic. I will put a link to this right now in the comments for you guys. So if you want to go to it and read it yourself, you can and use it because it is super, super helpful. I'll see if I can add it to the description of this video when I'm done tonight. So let's see here. Anybody else? You're glad dude, I make so many typos. I'm good at reading through typos. No worries. So this document from 2021, does that mean if it does go to court, with the Coast is dead in the water? Honestly, I think that if Wizards of the Coast tries to deauthorize and they go to court, Paizo or somebody takes them to court, I think Wizards of the Coast loses the case. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a law expert, but it just seems I don't think they can win the case. The only lawyer I've heard that said that they can do this is what's his name? My lawyer friend. He's the only one who seems to have said it, and he might be right, but plenty of other IP lawyers have said nope. Plus the intent of the contract matters, and Ryan Dancy has said the intent was never to revoke, and the authorization portion of it was meaning that here are drafts. So they drafted. They said, "What do you think?" Make some changes. Another draft. They didn't want any of those drafts to get out, and people were like, "Oh, I'm going to use this draft. I like this one better." But when they finally had 1.0, it was authorized, and that's the one that is authorized. You can't just wave a wand and unauthorize it. It's already been authorized. It's like taking the toothpaste out of the tube. You can't put it back in. You already squeezed it out. It's there. So I don't see how they can unauthorize it. I think they lose that case, but we'll see. Washington state law, it shall be unlawful for any person to monopolize, attempt to monopolize, or conspire with any other person or persons to monopolize any part of trade or commerce. Washington state AG will be the first to take them to court. Is it a monopoly though? That's the thing. I feel like they're carefully saying, well, we were not saying there can't be other VTTs. In fact, those VTTs can have all those features, just not for our game. So I think it might be a hard case to prove monopolizing. Maybe antitrust or non-compete stuff. I don't know. It might be a tough one, but who knows? Again, I'm not a lawyer. You know more about law than I do. So, this thing is Wizards of the Coast knows that would be acceptable to third-party creators and the community, but they are basically using the same mental attrition tactics that car dealerships use to wear you down. Not me. I get those car dealers every time. I had a car dealer chase me down. I was like me and my brother were there to get a car. I was talking to them. It sounded like they were just way off in the price. So I was like, let's go. All right. So we get out to the car and the guy comes running out, dude, and he grabs us as we're pulling out of our parking spot. He's like, I've never seen somebody leave so fast. So sounded like you weren't on the same page as us, bro. And then he turned just too quick. I got a good car. Bob Ferguson, the Washington AG, took on Google in one. I know. I heard about that. So yeah. Well, let's see what happens, man. Like I said, let's see what 1.3 looks like. Maybe it'll be better. I don't know. But I say I said it before. I'll say it again. The hard line in the sand. The hard line. 1.0A stays. You put 60 under 2.0. And if 6th edition is good and the terms of the license of 2.0 are good, people will come over. That's all you have to do. You have to make a good license and a good game, people come over. If not, we stick under 1.0A and we keep making 5th edition stuff. And you're the only person who makes 6th edition. Have fun with it. We know how 4th edition went. So go for it. Like, if that's what you want to do, fine. But I would say make the new OGL good enough and the new game good enough that people want to be a part of it. That's the solution. But 1.0 stays. So my hard line in the sand is 1.0 stays. And, moving forward, if you want others to adapt 6th edition, make 2.0 good. This virtual tabletop whole thing, got to go. That's going. That's garbage. This whole thing, the whole thing is garbage. And he's right. It can't be a policy. It needs to be part of the OGL. So there we go. Thoughts from Joe on a Friday night after I feel like I'm haggard, man. I feel like I don't know when the last time I shaved a couple days ago. I don't know. The whole thing is just blah. The thing is, Watsy knows what would be acceptable to third party. Yeah, we read that one. Yeah, okay. So, I think it stopped working again on me. I don't know why that's doing that. All right, I agree. Make it good enough that we want to be a part of it. I mean, 1.2 was done by a better lawyer than 1.1. Yeah. Thoughts from Joe would be an excellent podcast name if you didn't already have one. Yeah. So yeah, my podcast dropped today. That Midgard show. Let me get a link for you guys. It's on YouTube, but it is also on a few other platforms. So let me pull that up, and I will drop some links for you guys. Let's switch my screen here. Let's see here. Go over here. Okay, so here it is on YouTube, but it is also on a few other platforms. So if you do, here it is on YouTube. You can watch it there. But if you want to just listen to it, it is on. Let me see here. What do we have it on so far? So far, it's on Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor, and Amazon. And Pocket Cast was being set up. So, and I think we're going to get on a few more as well. So it's on all sorts of platforms. So you can catch episode 1 of That Midgard Show, where we go over the 7 secrets of Midgard, which is kind of like the introduction of the Midgard World Book. We talk about all that stuff. We talk a bit about the history of Kobold Press and of Wolfgang Barr and all that fun stuff is all kind of covered on that episode. I'll share just because I had the Spotify open, I'll share the Spotify link with you guys as well, if you just want to listen to it in the car or something. I was just looking at Midgard stuff today. I heard there will be a Humble Bundle this weekend from Kobold Press, and I hope Midgard material is in it. Yeah, there is going to be a Humble Bundle this weekend. I will tweet out whatever I get, info I get on it tomorrow, because I think it goes live tomorrow morning. So when I wake up in the morning, I'll check, and I'll get that information posted on Twitter and shared out. But I don't know what's going to be in it. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of good stuff. Nothing I probably need, because I already have it all. Like, seriously, there's one book I still need on POD and like one soft cover that I don't think I have. I actually picked up one of the rarest Kobold Press books there is for 5th edition. It is Return to Castle Shadowcrag. It was this soft cover. It was a Kickstarter exclusive. It's only available in print. There is no PDF. I think they did it as an add-on with the Midgard World Book when it came out back in like 2018 or 2016 or whenever it was. So yeah, I picked one of those up. I snagged it up, and it is awesome. I'm so excited. The only copy I have seen on the internet in the past 2 years or so that I've been looking for it is on Amazon for $250. And I did not get it for that much money. I got it much, much less. So I was very, very happy. All right. So other topics to talk about. What do you guys think of ORC? I'm excited about the ORC stuff. Let's see here. Let's pull up ORC. So the Open RPG creative license. Sounds like there is a lot of people that have hopped on this. Let's see some. Let's see if there's any new news. Announcements. I don't see anything. You know what? Hold on a second. Humble bundle. Nope, that's old. Oh no, it's not old. Although that might be a different humble bundle. So yeah. Anyways, it sounds like there is a ton, like 1,500 creators or something that have hopped on ORC. So super exciting. I can't wait to see just all the content, man, that comes out through this. Is going to be just amazing. Obviously, Project Black Flag is the one I'm watching the closest, but I can't wait to see what else we get out of it. And that's the thing is, Project Black Flag may end up being kind of like the new Pathfinder Paizo kind of thing that comes out of this, like more of a 5th edition clone as opposed to a 3.5 clone, which is what Pathfinder is. At least Pathfinder 1 was. Where Pathfinder 2 is really its own unique brand new game. So it'll be great to have two really nice, solid systems that are open out there. I think that'll be really cool. It's going to bring a lot of good stuff. Now, my understanding is that Matt Covell is not part of ORC. I think he is doing his own open license. We had K-Wood Gaming in here earlier in the stream. I believe he mentioned that he was going to be part of ORC. I can't go back that far in the chat, unfortunately. But so yeah, there's a lot of publishers that are all signed up for it. It's going to be a big deal. And then we saw the Project Black Flag announcement earlier this week. That was the other really cool one. Let me see if we can pull up Cobalt Press's site, and we can look at that. And then Cobalt Press also has Deep Magic Volume 2 in Kickstarter right now. I just did a video on that, but that is not only a 5e book, it is also forward compatible with Black Flag. I think we took a look at that on my stream the other night. So definitely make sure you take a look at that Kickstarter because it is super cool. If you want some more information on it, check out the video I posted yesterday. MCDM and Dungeon Coach are both rolling out their own TTRPG. I like both of them, so I'll be getting those too. Well, yeah, I mean, I want to see what they look like, but yeah. I'm excited about ORC. I hope it's successful. I expect it to be good because it seems like they are doing it the right way in good faith. Yeah, oh, for sure. I agree 100%. I had the first Deep Magic. Curious to see the Black Flag Deep Magic 2. Well, it's going to be the one book. They're not releasing two books. It's one book. It's just compatible with both systems. Did you see the preview? If you were in the stream the other night, I was sharing the preview. There's little things like instead of saying DM, they say GM. But like the spells and stuff are formatted the same way. So it seems like it's going to be a 5e adjacent type system. I'm hoping it's basically 5e but fixes some of the issues we have with 5e, kind of like what 1D&D was supposed to do but didn't do. Like an actual 5.5 edition kind of deal I think would be really cool. I also like Level Up Advanced 5th edition. That, like, I've been looking more and more at that book and I really like it. I don't know if I would use it outright at my table, but I'm definitely stealing stuff from it to use at my table. So and not because I don't think it would be good at my table, just because my players they're not going to adapt well to something new, honestly. Like, I'm not even trying Pathfinder with them. I had enough time teaching them 5th edition. I love them dearly, but yeah. But I do recommend that EN Publishing Level Up Advanced 5th edition D&D. It's pretty cool. Like how see invisibility technically doesn't negate the bonus you get from being invisible. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does at my table, but yeah, I know what you mean. Level Up is beautiful. Love the Destiny part. Yeah, I haven't even read the whole thing yet, man. Like, I was just reading through some of the stuff in the beginning, and I was like, wow, I do that at my table already. I like this book. MCDM is sharing on Patreon their design process on a day-to-day basis. So far, it's fascinating. Cool. Yeah, I'm not a patron of theirs. I had to cut back on my patrons. I was spending way too much money. Joe, you need to move those blasphemous WotC books that are behind you. Face the tears of joy. I had thought about that today. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. The other ones are behind the flag. But oops. Don't knock over my son's magic cards. All right. And we have our healing potions here. There we go. It's done live on stream for you guys. The books are gone. They're on the floor, but I'll box them up. I'll box them up and put them somewhere. Damn it. They're not going to get used anytime soon. I feel like half my collection got devalued. You know, I have the limited edition cover of Volos. And now I'm like, that used to be something to brag about. All right, so ORC. I want to look at ORC. Or not ORC. All right, we got a super chat donation. Mike's still getting used to this whole super chat thing because he keeps on doing it but forgetting to put his comments in. But I read his comments anyways. But thank you for the donation, Mike. I highly, highly appreciate you supporting the channel. I really do want to start doing more and bringing more to you guys, and the donations certainly help me do that so I can fund some books and some stuff like that. I really want to pick up the Pathfinder 2 box set and do something with that on the channel soon. So I really do appreciate it a whole lot. Will D&D books hit thrift stores again? Possibly. I mean, honestly, I'd buy them from thrift stores. You know, like don't buy them from WotC, but buy them from thrift stores. Every time I go into Goodwill, the first thing I do is hit the book section, hoping to find old D&D books. Garage sales, I'm always looking. A little too much me tonight. You're off to bed. Have a good night, Mike. Thank you for hanging out. Definitely appreciate it. That's right. Running up the black flag, man. I picked that flag up at Ren Fair a couple years ago because we were playing Tome of Annihilation and my players were going to that pirate cove. And so I 3D printed an entire pirate ship, painted it, spent all this time. And then when I was at Ren Fair, I picked up the flag. So when they came to the session that day, I had the flag hanging up and the ship on the table and everything. And they were just absolutely stoked. Oh, that was on purpose, just removing the books? Awesome. I ordered a bunch of Pathfinder 2 ebooks today, going to box my WotC books up too. Man, I do want to... I did pick up some PDFs. I want to get physical... I'm such a physical book guy. That's why I'm like... I told my wife, I'm like, you know, as I raise funds in the channel, I'm going to reinvest it into the channel. So like, I'm going to use funds from here to get some new products to do. So definitely some Pathfinder stuff, probably Cypher, and whatever else. You know, honestly, like if someone's like, hey, you know, here's a donation, buy this book and do stuff on your channel on it, I would totally do that. Yeah, because that would be kind of cool. Pathfinder 2, in my experience, was interesting. It says it's backwards compatible, but I think I need to play it more to get a solid opinion, but I'm still on the fence about it. I don't know how it'd be backwards compatible with Pathfinder 1. That's kind of... it doesn't seem anything like the same system to me. But, okay. I will use my WotC books, but no money will go to WotC for me. Yeah, like I said, man, like you already have the books. It's not like you can't use stuff in them. Just, I'm not buying anything else from them, ever. You know, I mean, well, let's see. You know, maybe 7th edition, if they've learned their lesson, we can go back. But I think they need a timeout for a few years. I think they need a timeout. Yeah, okay. Like, I mean, I've played Pathfinder 1 a few times, and I liked it. It was a little much, but I liked it. I don't see how Pathfinder 2 would be the same. Not that I know a ton about Pathfinder 2, like I just started looking at it, but it does not seem like the same game at all. I mean, it's awesome. I think what I like about it is it's a completely new game. It's completely unique rules. It doesn't even really need the OGL or anything. It stands on its own. I want to check out Ironsworn. It sounds pretty cool. All right, let me get my notebook. I'm gonna write down Ironsworn. This is the book I got from my little notebook I got from my wife for Christmas. So let me write down Ironsworn in here. Ironsworn. I have not heard of that one, so I will look that one up. Do you rather say race or species? I don't care. That never. I mean, I honestly think that species makes more sense than race. Like, you know, like yeah, I feel like species makes more sense. But I don't care. It's always been race. It never bothered me. But technically speaking, species makes more sense. So whatever, doesn't matter. I don't care about that. It doesn't affect my game at all. I can't be like, oh, I can't play an elf because it's a species and not a rate. It doesn't matter. That notebook is awesome. I agree. I also got this one, which I like. It's like a little leather one. What I like about this one is it's refillable. So it just has these guys in it, and I can just, refill it. So that's kind of cool. And it's leather, so I like that. This one's cool though, because really what I should be doing with this one, I think what I'm gonna do with this one, because it's got dates and stuff, it's more of a journal. I think I'm actually gonna use it to start logging my sessions for my campaign. So when we're done with our session, I'm gonna write up all my session notes so I can read a recap to my players for the next session, that kind of thing. Have you played anything that's on the Powered by the Apocalypse system? I have not. That's another one I've actually meant to write down. Let's write that one down. So much stuff, man. There's so much stuff out there. You know what I might end up doing, at least at first, to keep budgeted, is do some PDFs, but I do want to get physical books of stuff. Powered by the Apocalypse. When I go to Gen Con, too, I do a lot of networking there, so sometimes I can get some demos and stuff like that. So maybe when I come back from Gen Con, I'll have a bunch of cool stuff to share. Blades in the Dark, Blades in the Dark. Look at Blades in the Dark. Okay. I'll look at Blades in the Dark. You guys have I'm going to have a list here. Blades. Oh, you know what? I looked up. I did see Blades in the Dark. Somebody, God, where did I see that just recently? Maybe it was another YouTuber was talking about it or something. But it looked really cool, actually. God, yeah, I'm trying to remember what that one was about, but it did look really, really cool. I have a Google Docs summary for my campaign I shared with my players, updated every session. It was really useful when we had to take a few months off and pick back up. Yeah, you know what? A couple things I do, right? Like I keep my own notes. I like to have I keep notes during my game, and then usually right after everybody leaves, I write up a summary that I can read back next session, like a cool narrative summary. But what I also do is when everybody sits down, I go, all right, Matt, what happened last session? And I make them tell me what happened, because it kind of keeps it fresh in their mind and makes them talk about it and think about it. And I really do encourage good note taking, because sometimes my players are bad at that. I'm a great note taker. Like in the game I play, and I'm playing tomorrow night at my buddy's house, I have a OneNote that I have, and I have it broken up by where I have like people, locations, groups, quests. Like I have all these different tabs, and I'll link stuff back and forth. So I do really good note taking. Blades in the Dark is basically a mix of Lies and Loch Lamora and Dishonored. Yeah. It did look really cool. It looked super cool. That's one I definitely do want to check out. Because that's the other thing, is I think I want to step outside of just fantasy. Like, I've always been more of a fantasy guy. Like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Huge Star Wars. You can see my droid up top there. Here's my droid I built at Galaxy's Edge, and I custom painted him. But when it comes to gaming, I always kind of preferred fantasy. I did do I did play Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO, but I played WoW a lot too. I just always been more of a fantasy guy. Like I played Knights of the Old Republic, but I really like Neverwinter Nights. But I do want to try to step outside of that and start doing some other genres. I definitely want to play Call of Cthulhu, high on my list, and I want to play Star Wars FFG. That's another one that's really high on my list. I might try Starfinder too. That one looks cool. I watched a video by Mike Shea, the Lazy DM, today where he talked about a bunch of RPGs. They aren't D&D. Iron Sworn was one of them, and it seemed cool. I'll watch that video. I love Mike Shea, dude. I got I backed his Kickstarter. I have all his books. The Lazy DM. Oh man, it's so funny as I read through. I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense. I should do this. This would save me so much time, and then I don't do it because I'm an over preparer. I have to not do that. Like his tips are so good. And then like I get his newsletters, and he's got good stuff in there. And then I love his videos on like campaign prep. Like he was playing Tome of Annihilation. I'd find the video where he was prepping for the same stuff I was prepping for, and I'd watch it, and it would help so much. Like his content is so good, so good. I write notes, making theories and important info, but my DMs forget everything, so it's very useful. Yeah. Good notes, man. Nothing beats good notes. KOTOR. Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic, man. Such a great game. But so is Neverwinter Nights. Like, they're not in here. I think I might have moved them because I was running out of room in my shelves. But I've got like from the Neverwinter Nights, I've got the guides, including the world building, like the because they had that amazing toolkit in Neverwinter Nights for making games, and so much cool stuff you could do and create adventures. And there was just the replayability of that game because of that. Some of the content in that game was so good. There was one guy who made just my favorite stuff, and he actually went on and got hired by BioWare, and he actually worked on Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO. He worked on a few other big games for BioWare. Man, that was just such a great era. The Neverwinter Nights days were some of my favorite days. I love that game, and I do have the remastered, like the updated one they did. I still play it. It's so good. It's so good. Dragon Age. Actually, yeah, he worked on Dragon Age. That's the other one that guy worked on. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but yeah, I have played Dragon Age. It's a great one. I did that too because I found that what happens from my perspective as a DM, it's very different from what the players perceive. Yeah, like you ask the players, and then I like kind of it's funny is I'll pick on one player, like all right, this week it's Matt, next week I'll pick my wife, I'll pick whoever, and then I get them to do it, but then the other players start piping, they go, oh, don't forget this happened, and oh yeah, and then that happened. So getting them, I think it helps jog their memory to make them do it first. I'm like, all right, cool, and then I go in, I'm like. And I read my narrative for them. So, a lot of time my narratives too will like recap multiple sessions. Like you traveled from the northern coast of Cholt through the jungle. You purchased a canoe. You went down the River Argent, and you did. Like I go through and I kind of do like this high level kind of narrative of things they've done over the past several sessions, and then more detail in the current session, and it just kind of gives them a cool sense, and it's a cool fun way to start the session. You put it to some really neat music and stuff like that. It's fun. Could everyone hit the like button for this live chat, please? Yes, please. You know what, I'm a bad YouTuber. I never remember to ask people to like even in half my videos I forget to say like, oh, like and subscribe. I don't know. Like I try to put that in, but it feels so artificial sometimes. I'm just like, if you like it, you're going to click the like button. Now, like what I've been doing in my videos is I have my little animation pop up, but I don't really ask for it as often. Just because, I don't know. I just want it to grow organically, I guess. But yes, please hit the like button. It does help the algorithm. It does get more people in the room. And it does help grow the channel. So for sure. Your brother was offered a job by BioWare for the content he created for Neverwinter Nights, but they wanted him to move up somewhere in Canada, I think, where their HQ was, and he passed on it. What was some of his content that he did? I might know it because I played a lot of the content from the Neverwinter Vault. There was some great stuff in the Vault. The vault is still around. There's like a portion of that vault still around where you can still download some of that old content. My favorite race to play, I don't think I have a favorite race to play, honestly. I think it just depends on the class. I play half elves a lot. I do like half elves. But under the new rule structure with Tasha's where you can assign stats and stuff, I don't think it matters as much anymore. If I had to pick a flavor just from a pure flavor perspective, I do like dwarves a lot. I think they're fun to play. Halflings have always been a favorite. My original D&D character was a halfling thief from back in AD&D second edition. So halflings definitely hold a special place in my heart. I do have a Goliath barbarian that I'm playing that I like a lot. Playing what's my character now? I think I have a human. Yeah, my ranger is a human. Having fun with it. But yeah, I don't know if I really have like a race that I'm like, oh, that's the best race. Like, I don't know. I think I care less about the race and more about the class. I think I might have. I don't even know if I have a favorite class at this point. I really do like rogues a lot, and what's funny is like I love rogues, love rogues. Still have not played one in 5th edition. Have not had the opportunity. Every time I play, somebody else is a rogue, so I have yet to get to play one. I'm really enjoying my Gunslinger Ranger right now. That's out of Toma Heroes from Cobalt Press, and then my Barbarian's fun. It's funny because I did the Barbarian because I always play more of like, I don't know, like a smarter character or a leader or some sort. I just wanted to just knock down doors and beat shit up. So I went with the Barbarian, and I have so much fun with him, but he still somehow is the de facto group leader. And I'm like, okay, like we have a wizard in the party, and he just still like passes to me. But it's funny is I like anytime there's money, I'm like, I don't care about the money. I do like bards and warlocks though, might be some of my favorite things to play. Like I love Hexblade warlocks, and I like lore bards a lot. Like those have always been two of my favorites to play. I can remember what it was exactly. He created several large areas and adventures. Who? What were we talking about? Oh, your brother. Okay. For Neverwinter Nights, yeah. Yeah, I'd be curious because there is so much good content in that game. You played it halfway for 3 years. I only reroll a saving throw once. Hey, thank you for this sub. I really appreciate that. I should add audio to these notifications. That would be kind of cool. In my experience, party leadership is 100% based on the character who is the most momentum. Seems like they know what they're doing. Yeah, what's fun is so if you grab Cobalt Press stuff, they have this whole reputation system, and there's some guidelines that are based on like your race and a few other things that give you like the starting reputation, and then based on things you do, that reputation will change. It's kind of like if you play like some of the start like Knights of the Old Republic or Sotar, how like the light side dark side alignment thing shifts when you make certain choices, or even in Neverwinter Nights, like the alignment shifts that would happen based on your choices. This is like things that you do will affect your reputation, and basically whichever party member has the highest reputation, NPCs will generally look at them as the de facto leader. The system is a little bit definitely needs some fleshing out, and there's ideas I have for it that I'm gonna do with it. But if you get either Courts of the Shadowfae or Tales of the Old Margrave, they've got more specific reputation systems for those specific areas in there that give a good examples of how you might want to run the system as a whole. Because my thought was that Midgard's this huge world, and I feel like each region or country or however should have its own reputation. And when you hit a certain reputation, if you hit like an exalted type reputation in one area, it should bump your reputation up in the neighboring areas by a certain amount, and then further areas by a lesser amount. Because if you've done something that great, word of you starts to travel, and in the immediate areas, people might recognize your name more easily than somebody on the other side of the world. But there may be at least some talk of you on that further side. So I want to start kind of fleshing that out. So the general rep system is in the Midgard World Book. I think we actually talk about that in episode 1 of that Midgard show. We actually have a section on that. So we do discuss it. And then the Tales of the Old Margrave and Courts of the Shadow Fae both have much more specific reputation systems in there for those specific settings. So the Margrave has its own, like you basically have a reputation with the Margrave forest. So your intent and the things you do in the forest will adjust that, and the forest itself is kind of alive and reacts to you differently based on that. And same thing with Courts of the Shadow Fae. It's very neat how they do it. So I would look at how they do it in those areas to get ideas of how you want to use the more general system in your game. But it's really cool. I really like that since Tasha's every race is viable to play. Before, people only chose the one with the specific bonuses to their class. I agree. I think Tasha's is one of the best books they released for 5e. I think it fixed a lot of problems I had with the game. I was honestly hoping that when they started talking about, a new version of D&D, which eventually became 1D&D, I was hoping it was going to kind of solidify more of the Tasha stuff. And I think that obviously they had a whole plan to make a whole new edition, and it didn't go the way I wanted it to. I was sitting there telling people, oh no, it's not going to be a 6th edition. It's going to be a 5.5. I was wrong. I'll say it, I was wrong. Don't let my wife know I said that. Have you played Fallout New Vegas? Just finished the DLCS. I have not. I have not played it. I have not. Is that a tabletop or is that a video game? Because I know we're talking about both. So, you need to jump on the KP bundle tomorrow for sure. Yeah, definitely jump on the KP bundle tomorrow. My party is going to run Empire of the Ghouls soon. Oh, yes. I might GM it, or my friend might GM it. Thanks for recommending it. It is so good. It is so good. You'll like it a lot. Like, I played Tome of Annihilation, and it was a heavily undead, obviously, campaign. Empire of the Ghouls, though, like, so much better. It's just, yeah, definitely. If you want to do something with a lot of undead, and not to mention a lot of travel. Like I said, it's not just... You're going to travel all over the continent. It's going to be fun. You're going to like it a lot. There's a Fallout TTRPG. Okay. Add it to the list. Adding it to the list. Fallout. What is it called? Fallout New Las Vegas. Okay. New Las Vegas. All right. It's on the list. I'll take a look. I will take a look. Then, what was I going to say? I had something else I was going to say. So many books. So yeah, the reputation system. Yeah. So my feeling is like say you're starting off in Zobak in the Crossroads region of Midgard, and you build your reputation up there. As your reputation, and I want to kind of write out, I have to kind of work on it and write up the mechanics, and I'll share them when I do. But my feeling is like once you get to a certain reputation, that reputation starts to bleed over a certain amount into the neighboring areas, and then less so, but still more into other areas. So I want to basically have a list of each of the regions of Midgard and a reputation rating for each of those that you would have, and how the a certain reputation in one region would affect reputations in the other, and then how things that you can do to affect those reputations in those regions. So. Yeah, that's my whole concept of it. I want to write up the rule set and release it, though. Better jump on the KP Kickstarter. Only 200 left of the limited edition hardcover, by the way. They raised 415. That is awesome. And we got another new subscriber, Congo Auroris. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. Thank you for the subscription. Really appreciate it. They raised 415. That's awesome. Now, when I look, let's pull up their Kickstarter, because why not? I that Kickstarter. I'm excited about it. Where is it? Let's pull Deep Magic 2. Deep Magic Volume 2 Kickstarter. Let's jump over here. All right, so Deep Magic Volume 2, $415,000 raised. So let's go down to the rewards real quick. So we have our standard rewards, right? Core book and PDF with Roll20. 2-book set with a slipcase. So you get Deep Magic Volume 1 and 2 with the PDFs and Roll20. Now, Deep Magic Volume 1 is essentially the same Deep Magic Volume 1 that's already out with a little bit of new content in it. There's a new mage subclass and a new base class. And some updates to some spells, like just fixes, nothing major. So if you already have Deep Magic Volume 1 and you don't want to have to buy a second copy, don't. They plan to release the new stuff as a smaller standalone PDF in the future, so you can just get that and keep using your Deep Magic Volume 1. But if you like the 2-volume set and the new cover art and you want the slipcase, by all means, go for it. Now, the limited editions are sexy. So you've got this one right here, which is Deep Magic Volume 2 only, limited edition with a PDF and Roll20. You've got the 2-book set with the PDFs and Roll20. The word level I picked is no longer available, which was just, it didn't have the Roll20, I don't think. So it was just, oh no, it did have the Roll20. Maybe it was, what was it? What was this one different? Has the PDFs, it's got the Roll20 license, it's got the pin, the preview, the slipcase. Maybe it was just an early backer. Maybe that's what it was. Was it like an early bird? Limited edition, both volumes and PDF, because there's the 175 level. That is... Yeah, it must have been an early bird that I got. That's why. Copy of limited edition, both volumes plus PDF. Yeah. And then I think that'll be it for the limited editions. There's also the leather editions. So yeah. But these books look so cool. And then there's also, so Deep Magic Volume 2 has got a witch class that looks so awesome. And then the Urge, something like that. Here it is, the Urge. Is the new class in Volume 1. And then they got these like new, I guess they call them magic styles. So it's just like kind of like a kit that you can apply to any caster and say like, I'm a pyromancer kind of deal. It's not a subclass. It's just if you want to have like more flavor, more of a kit applied to your caster, they have that. I'm running out of water. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. There's a lot of neat stuff. This is all on Roll20. So it will be available for Roll20. So you'll notice when you're backing, they give you the Roll20 included. But what you can also do, let's say, is get I think they include Roll20 with everything actually. You can get though just the digital for any so if you want to buy just Roll20. Or Fantasy Rounds, or Shard, or Foundry, you can. It comes with the PDFs. Or like, if you wanted to get this one here, but you want Foundry, you can add Foundry on during backer kit, something like that. So for some reason, I thought that the one I backed maybe didn't have Roll20, that's why it was less. But I think it might have just been an early bird that I got. That's why I was like wondering. Mine is Double Foil Limited Edition, Volume 1 and 2, plus a slipcase to hold them for a truly deluxe edition. You also get PDF of both volumes, and the Roll20 license are both included at no extra charge. So yeah, it must have just been an early bird is all it was. So I got it for $155 instead of $175. But yeah, and then I'll just add the Foundry on later. Or they're going to hire me to do the Foundry for all I know, and I won't have to buy it. That's possible. I told my friend, I'm like, you can do the Foundry conversion for them. I really don't want to do that one. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of data input. Let's see the stretch goal. So they did unlock some new stretch goals. This is one I was excited about, though, is the printed Arcane Chamber map tiles. Because they've got these Arcane Chambers, things like a Necromancer's Lab, an Arcane Dueling Ring, things like that. So they have like maps for them and stuff. So that seems kind of cool. If you're a backer, you can submit spells. So I'm already working on my spells. Let's see, 425 new magical grimoire, Book of the Dead, and Mythic Codex. Okay. So yeah, they got some cool stuff coming out. I think this is gonna bust like God. If they're already at 400 something thousand right now, what are they at? 415, and they got 27 days to go. I know it slows down, but I gotta think they're gonna hit 600, maybe 700,000. Foundry wasn't a choice when it came out. No, well, yeah. So the digitals were a choice. The digital only has been a choice, but uh, like I said, it'll be in backer kit, so you can add any virtual tabletop you want in backer kit. So just do that. What is your opinion on the Unearthed Arcana for 1D&D? I loved almost everything. Yeah, sure, I can talk about that. I liked a lot of it. There was some good stuff in there. There was a few things I didn't like, but I think the stuff I didn't like was popularly unliked and will probably not make it into the final. The one thing I really didn't like was the changes to when certain classes get their subclasses, right? Like clerics now are at level 3. And mages wizards are at level 3. I don't like that because it breaks the compatibility with 5e. So all your other 5e stuff no longer worked, so it's not backwards compatible. As soon as they did that, I was like, this is not. They're killing backwards compatibility. They're saying it's backwards compatible, but it's not. And sure, I could probably still run my adventures in it. It's similar enough to 5e that conditions and all that stuff will still work. They're adding some new conditions, which are cool. Like that part, but the advanced 5th edition I was talking about earlier, the level up advanced 5th edition from EN Publishing already has some of that stuff. So yeah, there was stuff I liked, but I did not like the changes to core class build. Like I wanted that backwards compatibility that wasn't there. So in my opinion, I think that I would rather play the level up advanced 5th edition. I feel like that is more the 5.5 edition that I wanted. And I could take stuff from this playtest that I like and adapt to my games. That's fine. I don't see myself adapting 1D&D at this point. Mainly because of the whole OGL debacle and me not wanting to really buy WotC books at this point. But I think if we were looking at it, like if some other publisher was coming out with this and I was looking at it, I go, it's pretty cool. Like I can get on board with it for the most part. But the breaking the backwards compatibility in classes really kind of bothered me a lot. That was because I've got so many third-party books that have subclass options, and they killed it. I feel like they did that on purpose. Like that was an intentional thing. So yeah, that's my feeling on it. But there was a lot of other good stuff in there. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't horrible. I think there was a lot of positive stuff in there. Stuff I feel like they took a lot of stuff that like we all do anyways in our homebrew at our tables and just said, yeah, that's the rules now. That's better, and that's what they did, and that's good. That's a good thing. They were adapting to how people play the game. They're saying, all right, yeah, that makes sense. That's more fun. We should do that. So that's my feelings on it. I actually liked the 3, 6, 10, 14 levels to gain the subclass feature for all classes. My friends was playing a rogue and had to wait 6 levels more than everyone else. Yeah, I mean, I get that, right? And that's fine if as a new addition to the game, but it breaks the backwards compatibility, and that's what bothered me about it. But I guess I just never really had a problem with the way the classes were working. Like I never really, stuff never really bothered me. Now, if you want like cool leveling and getting something all the time, check out Pathfinder 2 because Pathfinder 2 is a lot more. The character building is a lot more fun. That's one thing I have noticed is like you get to make a choice pretty much every level, and you make choices. It's not like, oh, I'm playing you know assassin rogue. It's like I'm playing a rogue, and I want this ability and this ability and this ability. It's almost like ability trees where you start picking stuff and branching off and doing, and like we can both play these very different rogues with some of the same abilities and some different abilities, and it's definitely neat. Like I would like to see that in D&D. Honestly, like that would be cool. That would be a new addition to me. But I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying though. It does make sense, right? Like the whole 3, 6, 10, 14. It makes sense. But again, like what happens to all these other books that I have, all these other subclasses and everything that have my wizard getting something at level 2 and my cleric getting something at level 1? Like, how do you have to, I don't know. I feel like you have to, if you really want to claim backwards compatibility, you have to make that work somehow. And it definitely screws up all the third-party publisher books. Always assume Wizard Coast has an ulterior motive for anything they do or say at this point. That's the sad thing, right? Like, yeah, the trust is definitely broken. But if we step away from the OGL stuff and a step away from the lies and all this other stuff, and we looked at the next D&D, the one D&D, independently of that and said, is this a good game? It's pretty good. It's designed well. It's not bad. Does it need work? Yeah. Do I think that work might be suffering because of everything else going on? Yeah. But that's their own fault. Do I think that 6E will be a good game? Probably. It probably won't be bad. But I'm in a place right now where I'm having trouble getting on board supporting it. So that's unfortunate because I might have been all for it, otherwise. So let's see here. Congo says, for example, multiclassing just one level into cleric before gave you 10 features, everyone would finally stop multiclassing into hexblade. Yeah, you're right. So you can definitely there was definitely ways to game the system in 5e with multiclassing for sure. Dipping into things like fighters and stuff like that. There was a lot of ways to game the system. I'm currently playing a Berserker Barbarian, and I'm thinking that once I hit level 8, I am going to dip, I want to say, maybe 3 to 5 levels. I think 3. I have to look. I had a whole plan written out into Moon Druid. So I want to basically like go bear form or some kind of like big animal form as a druid and like tank, basically rage, shapeshift, go at it, and then when those hit points are drained and I revert back, I just turn into another animal and keep going and revert back. And then when I'm all out of wild shapes, I still have all my own health pool. I mean, I could be like, just I would have so many hit points. It would be ridiculous while you're raging and mitigating all that damage and then shape changing and having all those extra hit points. It will be insane. It'll be absolutely insane. It'll be so hard to kill me. The only thing you can do is mind control me, which he's done. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to abuse that for sure. It might have been a good game. Now I probably will never know. I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to say that the situation is not completely fixable, but I don't think they're willing to do what it's going to take to fix it. That's the problem. It's bad at this point. They really screwed up. So yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. But there's a lot of people who when I start getting into like just Facebook groups and other places, I'm finding that a lot of people just are like, I don't care. They're just going to keep playing D&D. That's fine. That's up to them. I think that they'll find out that the game is going to suffer without that the rest of that community to supplement and drive innovation, I think they're gonna be sad when they are only have one choice of VTT and they have to pay for everything and all their players have to pay too to play. I think that they're gonna go, oh, but the game itself, again, objectively speaking, just looking at the system itself, if I wasn't already playing 5e, if I was a new player coming in, 1D&D looks all right. It looks like a good game. Looks easy enough to learn and play and balanced and fun, and sure, yeah, it's pretty good. Doesn't mean I'm going to play it, but like I said, I think that Congo, if you're interested in playing 1D&D, you should. I mean, I would never tell anybody don't play a system because I'm mad about at the company. If it's a game you want to play, by all freaking means, play it. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna end up sitting at a table somewhere, and people are like, "We're gonna play 6e." I'm gonna be like, "Okay," but I'm not buying the book. Like I said, Pathfinder 2 has definitely piqued my interest, and I'm kind of mad about it because I'm like, who am I going to play this with? Because it looks really good and I want to play it. I have to reach out to a buddy of mine who I know is Pathfinder Society and all that stuff. A guy I used to play 2nd edition with in high school. He's a Pathfinder guy. So I don't know. He might be so hardcore Pathfinder 1 that he won't play Pathfinder 2. I'm not really sure. I don't know where he stands on that stuff. So I'll have to find out because he might be a good guy to reach out to. But they lost my trust as a company, but the design team shouldn't be blamed for that. I've heard rumor that they don't read feedback. No, all right. So here's the deal. Let's address that rumor real quick because I heard the same rumor and I was upset. So the rumor is definitely false. But I think that the rumor was it was partially true on certain specific aspects or certain things, but for the most part, no, I don't believe that it's true. That the feedback does get read, at least some of it. Like, I don't know how they could read every one of those. Kind of like today, I wrote so much text on that OGL survey. I'm like, who's gonna read all this? Like, this is gonna be like hundreds of thousands of angry letters. Like, who is gonna read all this? But the radio buttons, right? That could spit out results. Like, you can export that to a spreadsheet and get results. So, I don't know how good the comment section does, but I think the rest of it might, be useful. But yeah, the company has lost my trust. That's the thing. It's like those rumors come out, and it doesn't matter if they're true or not. The company has lost so much trust that people are like, yeah, that could be true. That tracks. I don't trust them. And that's the problem, is it's a perception issue. We perceive them to be untrustworthy, and therefore, if false information comes out, we're easily able to just cling on to that because we are angry. And I agree with you. I do not blame the design team. I think all those guys working on the books, right up to Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins, are good people who care about the game and who probably are very upset about the same things we are right now. I honestly, truly believe that. And I'm just like, I don't blame them, but the thing is, when we buy those books, we're supporting the company that's doing the bad thing. So that's where I'm at on it. Davram, thanks for hanging out, man. I really appreciate you as always. Make sure you come back and hang out again. We'll do this again for sure. Yeah, so that's where I stand on that stuff, man. Like I said, I don't know if you were here earlier in the stream, but we went through the whole OGL thing earlier in the stream. So, yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that a company that I cared about and put so much into did that. It hurts, but it's where we are now. And like I said, like I plan, I think you just subscribed to my channel tonight. I did a video on Tuesday about how to play D&D 5e without WotC books. And I used Cobalt Press as an example because I have a lot of their books and they're one of my favorite publishers. You can do that with a lot of other third-party books as well. Like I said, there's EN Publishing makes the Level Up Advanced 5th Edition books. That I think you might like to take a look at that, because I feel like that fixes a lot of issues with 5th edition without making it 6th edition. I think it's a true 5.5. So I would recommend you take a look at those. They are good books, and you might find something there that you like. But take a look at the video I did. Like, I mean, I went through everything from campaign setting to player options to spells to everything, magic items, everything, all third party. The only thing I needed from Wizards of the Coast is the SRD. That's it. So you want the level up link? Sure, I could do that. EN Publishing Level Up Advanced 5e. It's levelup5e.com. I will drop it in the chat. There it is. I thought I switched to our other view here. Are we not on that view? All right. So let me do this then. Let's go ahead and pull this up. I know it's getting late. We're not going to do this too much longer, but why don't we take a look? I have the PDF for Level Up here. Player's Guide, Campaign Guide. Which book was it that I needed? So the Level Up, we want the core rulebook. That's the one I want. It's core rulebook. Where is it? Is this it? No, that's not it. Where did I put it? That's weird. I don't see it. I know I have it. I thought I put it in a folder so I wouldn't lose it, and I apparently lost it. Pathfinder. Well, that sucks. I don't know where I put it. Level Up. Let's look here. Level Up. Huh. I can't find it. I'll have to find it later. I wonder if I accidentally deleted it or something. I know maybe I never took it out of my downloads folder and I deleted it. Legendary Cipher. Crazy. I know I have it and I can't find it now. I wonder if I accidentally deleted or something. I'll find it and we'll go over it next stream. But it's a great book. They do a lot of really cool stuff with it. You don't work tonight. Keep going. I have to bring my car to the freaking shop tomorrow to get a new battery, or to the dealership. Here, hold on. Let me look one more spot. Maybe I have it. Then I went and closed the damn folder. All right, hold on. Let me check. Actually, you know what? Let me check. Maybe it's in my trash can. D&D. Level Up. All right, let's see if it's in here. Level Up. Me search. You guys are watching a stream of me searching my computer for books now. This is getting sad. Publishing. So I got Try to Adventure. Level Up. Yeah, I don't know what I did with it. It's so crazy. Core rulebook. I'm trying to search for that. It's not in my trash can either, so I don't know where the heck it could be. Like, I keep all my stuff in one place. That's what's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I lost it. I'll have to find it. We'll do it another night. I'll make that a thing that we'll go over. That'll be one of the first ones we can look at. But it is a great book. I definitely would recommend it because it's got a ton of cool stuff in there. And it was definitely a lot of fun. But all right. Let me check any more questions here. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Do you remember the full name? I don't see core book on their page. It's right there. If you go on their page, it says core rulebook. There's like the 3 books right there. They show them. There's the core rulebook, the monster menagerie, and the theological figures. But it's the core rulebook. Let's see something. Hold on. Let me go back in there one more time and just double check. Maybe I don't have it labeled as core rulebook. Maybe that's why. Maybe I have it labeled as something else. That's why I don't get it, because I'm like, I know I keep like everything in a certain spot. There's the monster book. I bought that. There's the player book. There's the campaign book. Maybe it's a player guide. Nope, that's not it at all. That's not level up. That's why I'm looking at the wrong thing. Trials, mythology card. No, I don't have it. That's weird. That is really, 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 really weird. Adventurer's Guide 2A. Is this it? Oh, you know what? I think they call it Adventurer's Guide instead of Core Rulebook now. Maybe that's why. Yeah, okay, here it is. That was weird. I'm looking at their website and I see Core Rulebook and I'm searching for that, but it's actually called Adventurer's Guide. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this up. Give me a second here while I get the view set up. Do that, and one page. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a window capture and PDF, and there it is. All right, let's go ahead and come over here and all right, here it is. All right, so this is the book. And they have here, so if we look at the contents, you can see here we have origins, heritage, culture, backgrounds, destinies, which is kind of a new thing, class, levels, hit points, dice. I mean, it's 5e, but it definitely goes through some new stuff. So if we look here, it's like a entire reprint of the player's handbook, so to speak. Like they have the classes, but all the subclasses are new. All that stuff is new. They talk about group checks, criticals, and fumbles. But like they talk about how to do group checks, right? That's something that's not really a real rule, but a lot of people use. Rules as tools. They talk about advantage, disadvantage, and then they have this expertise thing. So some class features or traits grant you expertise dice for an attack or a saving throw, or in a specific skill or tool proficiency. When you make a d20 roll with which you have gained an expertise die, roll a d4 and add the number rolled to the result of the check. You can never roll more than one expertise die on the same roll. If another class, feature, or situation grants an expertise dice of any size that applies to the same roll, you don't gain another die. Instead, the size of the largest expertise die is increased by one. One step for that check, from a d4 to a d6, d6 to a d8. For example, if you have gained 2 expertise dice, a d6 and a d6, you now have a d8 expertise die. If you have a d8 expertise die on a check, further expertise dice have no effect. If you have advantage or disadvantage at the same time as an expertise die, only the d20 is rolled twice and not the expertise die. So it's kind of like having like a bless or something like that. It's kind of neat. It's a neat idea. I think it's kind of cool. The non-official books are hard to get in your language. I had to actually learn English just to understand the rules. I'll check your video anyway, even though I probably won't buy the books. Does Kobo Press print in other languages? I think they do. What language do you speak? Um, I'm pretty sure Kobo Press has some German, maybe, or something like that. I gotta look. But I'm pretty sure they do have some of the Kobo Press in another language. I don't know if these guys do or not, but it'd be worth checking. So here you got origins. So the way you do your class build makes a lot more sense in here as well. It seems pretty cool. Um, you have your backgrounds, your destinies. It's just the way they do it's super cool. I like it a lot. And but it's still 5e, and like the classes and stuff are still kind of the same. Let's jump over to classes. Let's go here. Let's go. Let's just look at, I don't know. Here, we'll look at a rogue. Let's look at the rogue. So we look at the rogue. You can see where you get stuff at. But you get your archetype at 3rd still. Aim is now, like, as opposed to being part of cutting action, it's its own ability at 5th level. But you know, it's you get stuff almost every level, but they kind of broke it up, and it's still, I feel like you could still use other subclasses, because the roguish archetype, I believe, still tracks with what's in the player's handbook. You speak Spanish, okay? You're from Argentina. I could find out for you, honestly. I'm not sure, but they might do it. Let me ask real quick. I just asked in the Kobo Press group. I'll see, because yeah, their stuff is so good, man. Like I love their stuff. And I know there is stuff out there in other languages and things like that, but yeah. Was wondering why Gale Force 9 is not producing Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Are they not? I've gotten some Gale Force 9 stuff, like DM screens or stuff like that. I find their stuff somewhat expensive sometimes, so I don't always buy it. But I didn't realize they hadn't been producing stuff. I wonder if it's because of everything going on, they just cut their license off. I don't know. I do have the Gale Force 9 Zombie T-Rex. That mini is so good. That mini is so good. I love that thing. Let me see something. Zombie T-Rex. See if I can find my painting of it for you. That one's not mine. Where's mine? It's gonna be in the Tome Annihilation. You know what? Let's do this. Tome Annihilation DMs, and then look up me. There he is. There's the two of them together. I got a good picture. Here he is. Aha. Okay. Let's hide that. There you go. So there's my zombie T-Rex. And I actually added like drool and guts coming out of his stomach. I used hot glue, so you don't even see that in this picture. But he's super cool. There it is. Tome Annihilation is my favorite. The 5e modules. It was a good one. I had fun with it. But yeah, it was definitely a long one, and it was terrible of me to make that my player's first ever freaking adventure for 5th edition that they ever ran. That was bad. So what I did with the zombie T-Rex, right, was I had them going through the jungle, and it was getting late, and they heard this T-Rex and somewhere in the area, and I'm like, I told them, like, like, well, they did a survival check. I'm like, you think you might be in like the domain of a T-Rex? Like, well, we gotta get out of here. I'm like, well, it's getting late. Do you want to try to push through in the dark, or do you want to set up camp? They're like, no, we're gonna push through. And the halfling's like, well, I can't see in the dark. So she's like, can somebody carry me? And like nobody spoke up. So the bard's like, I'll do it. And the bard, in the meantime, is he's like an 8 strength. Like, strength is his dump. So he picks her up, and I have him roll a check, and he nat ones it. So he trips and falls and dumps her head over heels into the bushes. And I tell her she feels something hard, but it gives way, and then it's all soft and gooey. And as they go in there with the light, she's in the T-Rex nest, covered in a broken T-Rex egg. And they're like, oh crap. So they take off, and this T-Rex just starts hunting them. It's chasing them. And like the wizard actually, I think, got picked up and tossed at one point. They were able to save him, but it was ugly. And they get away from this T-Rex, but then over the next several sessions, this T-Rex would pop up, and it was just hunting them and hunting them and hunting them. And they had this one session where they actually came across a Triceratops that was hurt, and the druid helped the Triceratops, and she had 2 babies. And the Triceratops and the babies like hung out with them for like a little bit before just taking off. But then later on, they T-Rex comes, and they're finally like, fuck it, we're fighting this thing. I'm sick of this shit. And I get into this fight, and it's going okay, but then it starts taking a turn for the worst. And I had the Triceratops come out of nowhere and ram this T-Rex, and they both go tumbling down this side of this hill. And they go down there, and the Triceratops is there and hurt, and they help it. And the T-Rex looked like it had gotten badly hurt, but stumbled off. Like there was blood and everything. There was this trail of blood going through the forest. So they follow it, and eventually they come to the T-Rex's dead body laying there, and you see this gash open on it from where the Triceratops had hit it with its horns. And I'm like, you could see like bodies of people or something in there, and there's actually a hand sticking out, and you see this ring glowing with some kind of magical aura coming out of its stomach. And the rogue, she's like, oh, that's mine. She like runs up and goes to grab it, and the T-Rex gets up as a zombie T-Rex. And they were just like, you son of a bitch. And from then on, the joke was like, after they fought that, they're like, next it's going to be Mecha T-Rex. It was such a great session. It's one of those like just super memorable sessions. So I came back from a used bookstore and picked up Monsters of the Multiverse for $26. So people are dropping their 5e books. Yeah, I know. Like, I should go hit up Half Price Books this week or something, see if I can score anything good. I don't need any of the 5e books, unfortunately. Like, I pretty much have everything. There's a few that I only have an alt cover that I don't have in regular cover. But I mean, if I found something cheap, I would, as long as I'm not giving my money to WotC, I don't care. I wonder if that's how I picked up my freaking copy of Return to Castle Shadowcrag on eBay, because it was only $50, and I'm like, because that's a $250 book on Amazon. Like, I put this thing in a dust jacket because it's valuable, it's rare, but yeah, I couldn't believe I scored this. I could not believe it. I was shocked. Gonna steal all that story from my game. Hope you don't mind. No, by all freaking means. I'll tell you another good. You want another good one for your story? For your game? Hold on. Let me go back in here real quick. I got another one for you. Do you have any Owlbear minis by chance? You have an Owlbear mini. Hold on. Where's my thing? Here it is. All right. I want you to paint it up like this. I made a macaw bear, right? So I made a macaw bear, and what I did, what I did with that was my players were in the jungle and they hear these cries for help. Ah, help, help, it's gonna kill me, help. And they go running off and they come to this clearing and there's a dead body. And medicine check, or you don't even have to have them roll a check if you don't want, but a check will reveal that the person's been dead for at least a day, maybe two. And they're like, well, that's weird. Who the hell was calling for help? And then the bushes rustle a little bit. And the bard goes, well, fuck this. Let's get out of here. And then I'm like, you hear from the bushes, the bard say, like you hear his voice say, well, fuck this. Let's get out of here. And they're like, it's a freaking parrot. And like they start looking and they see the bright colors of this parrot. And they're like, come on, let's go. And the druid's like, oh, hold on, it's a bird. I want to see it. And then this macabre bear jumps out. And it's just an owlbear. Statted as an owlbear with an extra trait called voice mimicry, where it mimics the voice of its last victim to lure new victims in. And that's it. And, it was a great fight. I mean, it was a good low-level fight. It was when they first got into the jungle. It was so funny. Because the druid, my wife was the druid, and she was just absolutely just so gullible for anything with animals, and I would just mess with her over and over and over again. Yeah, Joe's not watching. Take my stories. All right, hold on. I got one more for you. I got another good one since I'm on a roll now. Let me find it. You can steal this map too. I'll post the map somewhere for you. Let's see here. Here it is. Hold on. Let me just clear this crap off the side. That's so much stuff. Okay. Go back to my screen share here. Okay. So here, what we have is this map that I made. And I called this the Song Shrine. So this was an encounter I made for a bard. I like to give each of my players a chance to shine, right? To be the center of attention. And what I did was I made this thing, and they come in, and there's this symbol of, right here, there's a little pedestal, and the symbol of Upteo is on there. And you'll find that symbol a lot, right? It's the maze. And you just have to trace your finger in the maze. Not hard to do. You don't even have to have them roll a check if you don't want, but if you do, you have them roll like a DC 8 intelligence check or something like that to trace the symbol. Failing to trace the symbol, either doing it wrong or not doing it at all, has Assassin Vines attack. So they'll have an encounter with Assassin Vines. Also, if they try to step on this floor here, if they pass this altar without doing it, the Assassin Vines will attack. So have that encounter or don't, it depends on how that goes. Then what draws them, I should say, hold on, let me go back up. Because basically what you do is they're walking through and they hear music. They hear this melody, this very calming, almost flute-like or wind instrument type melody playing. And they come to this temple covered in vines in the jungle. And there's dinosaurs all over the place. Carnivores, herbivores, and they're all just calm and docile and chilling around this temple. Nothing's being aggressive here. No animals are aggressive here. And going in, you trace the symbol of Upteo, and looking around on the sides, there's holes, right? Up in the sides of the building. Different sizes, different shapes, and the wind blowing through is causing the music to play. It's basically like a giant, this place is built to be a giant instrument, and this music is playing, and the bard has to make a series of checks. You decide what kind. I think I did wisdom checks or perception checks or whatever you want, whatever you decide is appropriate for it. Whatever his good stat is outside of maybe just charisma, right? Because this is more of a mind check. So something wisdom or intelligence based. And he has to figure out the notes of the song and step on those tiles to make it through. Doesn't matter what you decide what the notes are, to make it through onto the other side. Once he gets here, he finds another pedestal, and he has to play the song. So if he plays the song, have him make a performance check, and if he plays it, then a reward comes out, some kind of magical item comes out. I think I gave him a what is it called, a parapet of health, whatever the thing is. It's a health necklace that basically makes you immune to disease, which is super useful in the jungle. So parapet of health, I think is the name of the item, something like that. So, and plus he knows the song. So playing the song gives you advantage on any type of like animal handling or persuasion or any kind of charisma based checks to deal with dinosaurs, or wisdom based checks. Like I said, like animal handling or kind of any kind of charisma based check to deal with dinosaurs. You would have an advantage on those checks when you play the song. So it's kind of a really fun encounter for him. I enjoyed that one a lot. That was another really good session that we had. Was that from second edition magic item? No, it's a fifth edition magic item. Parapet of Health, I think, or however it's spelled. Yeah, Parapet of Health. It is a fifth edition item. Yeah, if it's a bard encounter. Like I try to build an encounter for each player. I did one for the druid where there was this whole thing with she had to like do this whole thing with snakes and stuff. It had to do with the Soon sisters, and it was a bunch of stuff. I mean, I did something for everybody at some point. I'm completely tone deaf. I like if you actually played the notes I gave him, it probably would have been a horrible song. So I just made up notes and said, yeah, that's the song. I can't read music. I can't play music. I can't sing. I can't dance. Music is not my forte. So, but it was a fun encounter, and that's a big thing I like to do. I always tried to build something to let each player be the spotlight one day. I did something for the wizard. I did something for the cleric. I did something for the rogue. Everybody gets a chance to shine and kind of gets a session almost where they're the hero of the session. Maybe it would work more if maybe it would make it more interesting if they had to work the song a little bit. Here's a song as passed down like a game of telephone. Yeah, I mean, do what you want with it, man. It's just it's an idea I came up with and I threw together. If you're on Facebook, go to the Tome of Annihilation DMs page, and the map's there. I put it up in the files for people to download. Yeah, I know. It's funny is I have a friend who I play D&D with. I DM for her, she DMs for me. She's a great musician. She writes custom music for her games and written some stuff for mine. And I'm sure I can get her to like write that song if I really wanted to. But you just want something like a soothing song, something that you would use to like calm the beast kind of deal. So, but yeah, all sorts of good ideas. Just my best suggestion is make sure each player has an opportunity, a session where they're the hero of that encounter, of that challenge, of that session. Let them get to use the skills they are best at to shine. One of my dragons collect teeth. The character offered one of their teeth to negotiate not to attack a city. He took the tooth of the Trollkin and Ramage character's knight. Oh, that was in your Midgard game? That's a good idea. Did it work, though? Yeah, I have a collection. Like I've got all like the Warcraft soundtracks ripped to my computer. I got a couple of Amazon playlists. When I play Midgard, there's actually an entire set of music that was designed for Midgard, but from oh man, who makes it? Let me look because I have it in my drive here. I'm trying to remember who actually made that music. My Midgard campaign. Yeah, here it is. It's from Plate Mail Games. Plate Mail Games did a whole series of soundtracks for all of Midgard. I have like 10 Zobek tracks alone. There's stuff for the Western Wastes. There's stuff for different cities, different the Northlands, the Margrave Forest, the Iron Crags, all sorts of stuff. There's specific soundtracks for them. You know what's weird? is my video feed that I'm seeing on like my YouTube, like my chat's current with you guys, but the video feed I see is, oh, it's because somehow it's back. There we go. That was weird. It wasn't live. If the dragon has an old woohoo, it could pewter those characters through their teeth, maybe. An old woo woo. If the dragon has an old woo woo, it could pewter those characters through their teeth. Oh, I don't know what you mean. Oh, the characters lived. Good. Possible plot hook for later. Old blood magic allows body parts as conduits for magical attack. Man, not bad idea. Not a bad idea. We should. No, I was gonna say it'd be fun to do like a collab, like write a one shot together, like on a live one night. Like we all just start throwing it. We kind of do like a Mad Libs version of a one shot one night. Like I'll come up with like this one shot, and I'll have spots like where like who's the BBE, and like I'll have these blanks, and I just have you guys throw out ideas, and we fill it in, and then we see what we get out of it. And just make like a ridiculous one shot. We'll do a Mad Lib one shot. That'd be fun. Live creations are super fun, good for map making and world design too. Yeah, I could do a stream one night too where we play with Dungeon Alchemy or something like that, make some maps or something. This map, the map I just showed you a few minutes ago, that one I made in Campaign Cartographer 3. So that's another great program. A lot harder to use, but you can make some great maps with it. Yeah. What time is it? It's 11 o'clock. I have not heard from my wife. Either that or I'm ignoring her. And she's going to get mad at me soon. Let's see. No, I haven't heard from her. All right. So, I did watch Vox Machina. I did watch all 3 episodes. For the cliffhanger it had to end on. I mean, it's fun. I know what happens because I listened to Campaign 1 of Critical Role, but the cliffhanger that it ended on, I was just like, ugh, I don't want to wait till next week. I noticed they are rewriting certain elements of the story to make it work for the show better, and it makes perfect sense and doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, it's pretty good. I wonder if all the OGL stuff is detracting from the show at all. Like, are people not watching it because of the OGL stuff? All right. Well, we have been going now for almost 3 hours. So I think I'm going to call it because I'm tired and I got a long day tomorrow. So I appreciate everyone hanging out. Glad we got to talk some OGL stuff and get all that off our chest. I'm getting tired of talking about it, but at the same time, I don't want to stop talking about it because it's important. So we'll keep on maybe like doing bits about it. Like, well, here's the latest on the OGL. All right, now let's move on to more fun stuff, because after this whole OGL thing is over and we don't have to ever freaking talk about it again, I want to, kind of have fun content that we can play with. So I've got my list that I wrote of some systems you guys want me to look at. We'll take a look. As we start bringing in some money on the channel, I will reinvest that into some of the books for us to buy and go over here on the channel. So if you want to support the channel, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're liking. I do have the super chats and tips and all that stuff up. If you want to support the channel in that way, greatly appreciated. I do not have a Patreon or anything like that set up yet, or memberships yet. I do want to do memberships. I don't know what to offer with it yet. I was trying to think about what to offer with it. So if you guys have ideas of what you would like to see, if like I did a membership thing on the channel, what would you want to get out of that? Like, I don't want to just give you guys some cool emojis. Like, that's nice and all, but I feel like I'd want to do like, I don't know, some kind of giveaways or something. Like, even if it's like, I do a map, I make a custom map and give it to the members, or write a little one shot for you guys or something. Maybe I can do a thing where I'll select some members at random with a drawing, and I will run a game for you guys in Foundry. We can do something like that. Like, give me some ideas You know what I'll do is I will post. I think I can do it in my community section. I will post a thing in the community section of my YouTube channel. There's the community thing where I can post stuff. I'll post that question in there. Respond there with some ideas on what you want to see in a member section for my page. Because I don't want to just, I'm not looking to just, say, oh, join and give me money. That's not my deal. I just want to be able to provide you guys more content, and I need to be able to pay for that, the content I buy, like the books I buy and the things I do for you guys. I just want to reinvest it. So if you have ideas of what you'd want to see in a membership for my page, let me know and I can get something going and set up. I like the idea of maybe doing a members one shot like once a month or something like that. That can be kind of fun. So if you have any ideas, let me know. But aside from that, I appreciate everybody hanging out. I'll get that posted up in the community thing as soon as I end this stream, and you guys can respond in there. And yeah, we'll do another one of these. I don't know if we'll do one this weekend because I've got a game tomorrow night, and I got to go do my car thing tomorrow afternoon, and then my dad's birthday party on Sunday. But I'm thinking I want to do like Tuesdays and Fridays. I think are great stream nights for me. But I'm doing them randomly right now because of the OGL news. So we'll get down to more of a regular schedule at some point as well. Warren says that I need to see some more Foundry VTT stuff since you're an expert at that. Absolutely. I would love to do more Foundry stuff. I was thinking about even like just doing a stream where I'm putting together like when I'm converting books into Foundry. I can't do like ones for Kickstarters that haven't been released yet on stream, but like I'm going to take the Zobek Clockwork book. I'm going to put that into Foundry for myself. So I can kind of show you guys my process and how I do that, and like my thought behind how I make it really pretty too, because I like it to look nice. Not that you have to do that, but my organizational process behind it, how I link stuff across. And the other reason I like to make it pretty is because if I have it and like Cobalt Press says, hey, we want that converted to Foundry, I already have it done. I can be like, here you go. So yeah, I can definitely do some stuff like that, or set up some adventures and do things like that. So that could be a lot of fun. So when you respond in the comments about the Foundry stuff, maybe tell me specific things you want to see in Foundry. And I can try to do that too, because that would be a lot of fun. All right, guys, that's it for now. Make sure you go comment on that thing in the community section when I post it, and have a great night. Thanks for joining.